Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast.
Huh. Hey, this is the place to be for all you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs. The place for the laughs and the fun, the tension, the drama, the struggle.
I just realized, well, we're going to use that camera.
And we're here today with three of our good friends.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of a celebration episode, honestly. Yeah. Who you're going to be seeing is Sarah. You might know Seth. He's been on a few times. Well, Sarah is Seth's girlfriend. We've known Sarah for a while now. She's been very dedicated, high-quality fan of the show.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking to Tim. We've talked about him a whole bunch. High-quality friend in general. He is kind of famous. He just doesn't know it. And then Esther, who actually is Tim's fiance and also very big fan of the show.
Yeah.
So we talked to Sarah a little bit about what's going on with her life, a little bit about her thoughts about the podcast, even a little bit about, her interests, why she likes the podcast. Also, she grew up in California.
Yeah.
And then we talked to Tim and Esther, and they gave a lot of thoughts, but they even talked about getting ready to be married in a week. So
yeah, look, we've got. I want to say we got a beautiful love story,
honestly,
from both Sarah and Tim and Esther.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
this is the night of love.
It really is.
It really is. But let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoy. This is our conversation with three great friends and fans of the show.
Hello and welcome to the podcast.
This is a new everybody. Podcast. It might have been like demon possessed. It was a fairly large, mutated-looking chicken.
We were born in the north, but we grew up in the south.
We learned all of our words from Pennsylvania.
And people are, that's toboggan. That little toboggan.
It's not a toboggan. A toboggan is a sled. Okay.
0.3 inches, baby.
Dude, I can't take it. So, what's going on in your life these days?
Just finished school for this semester, which is fun.
What year are you?
A junior. So, well, now I'm a senior.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so just finished that up, which is crazy. I feel like I just started. Like, it's crazy to think I've been doing this for 3 years. But, yeah, so just got one more year, which is awesome. I'm currently in an Airbnb because my family lives in California. So it's kind of hard to like pack up and go home. So I'm in an Airbnb for the month of May because I still work in the area.
Wow.
And hopefully I'll find an apartment and move there for the school year.
Okay. Did they kick you out for the summer?
At school?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they have like summer camps on campus. So like dorms are used for that. So you have to like get out.
Gotcha. That's sad. Would like a month of Airbnb, is that like a lot more expensive than a normal place? That seems like it.
Yes. But the nice part about an Airbnb is that like it's furnished. So like I don't have to like buy a couch and buy a bed and all these things like I have at school. So that's really nice. And especially like if I'm just going to be here for this month before I find an apartment, like it's pretty helpful. But I will say like it is more expensive. Well, it depends on like the rent that you're looking at. Mm-hmm. It's like comparable or more expensive. So yeah.
Gotcha.
The apartment that I found is less expensive than this, but depends on how bougie you want to be, I guess.
And what level of bougie are you?
I can be as bougie as I need to be. But also like I can eat mac and cheese out of the pot with a wooden spoon and call it a day. So.
Hey, I've done it before.
I think we all have.
Well, we all have. No, gluten-free vegan mac and cheese.
That's important.
Gotta
no Velveeta.
Which, by the way, so you listened to Matt's podcast, right?
I did.
So did you? I knew that you were gluten-free. But it was cool that he accommodated it was your birthday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it really, I mean, it was Seth's idea. But Matt was very kind to accommodate, like you said. I had no idea. But yeah, so I'm allergic to gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, monosodium glutamate, also known as MSG, and nitrogen.
That's a lot of stuff.
So
yeah.
So what can you eat as far as like beef or poultry, or is that all good?
Yeah, as long as it's not processed with like nitrates, which is a lot of like processed meats, like bacon and lunch meats and things like that, I'm fine. So I'm not allergic to any seafood, I'm not allergic to any nuts, not allergic to really any meat, except for the preservatives.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so it's a fun life.
I don't like make it known, but I get yucky feeling after I eat bacon and pork and stuff. So
really?
I don't tell anybody. I prefer. Is that bad? I thought it said our internet connection is like off.
No, it just says unstable. That's fine. Unstable means going.
Yeah, no, I can't. It makes me feel yucky.
Okay.
Just really. Head kind of hurts, body kind of aches. But
sorry, I missed. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Bacon.
I can't eat. I can eat bacon and pork and stuff, but I think if it's got those nitrates and stuff, it makes me feel really yucky. Really.
Yeah.
achy.
Does it like? For me, it like my mom also has this. It like gives her like really bad headaches and like stomach cramps.
Yeah.
And it's the same for me. Like I feel like my head is like 60 pounds and like my stomach gets all like crampy. It's not fun.
Yeah, my mom as well has the same thing. So we're always like, if we're gonna eat this bacon, this whatever, we just have to be prepared for the after effects.
You gotta push through the pain. Yeah, but there's a lot of like all natural things that you can definitely use that don't have those nitrates and stuff. And I found that sometimes they even taste better. So
yeah.
So you've been dating Seth.
Who?
So for a minute, for a while now.
Longer than
longer than a minute.
2 minutes.
2 minutes exactly. I would say, okay. Have you reached any recent conclusions? Because it's kind of like you make a lot of conclusions about Seth early on. What is like a recent conclusion you would say about Seth? Because he's been on here he's a good friend of the show, as you're a great friend of the show. Some might say #1 fan.
Yeah. Well, there were a few weeks where Esther wasn't coming on the lives.
That's right.
And only Sarah was.
Yeah.
And so she got bumped up. She's at the at the top. She's got more points.
Which we will have Esther on at the end of this episode.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But okay, so have you reached any conclusions about Seth recently?
He is so wonderful in many ways. I think that he's like, an ogre. He has layers. And
he's saying my boy is Shrek.
He does have a lot of layers. He's very goofy, which I love. He is really funny because he'll pick fun at me all day, and then I'll make one joke about him, and he'll like go sit in the corner on the couch and be like, "No, you can't touch me. Like you were mean to me." And I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, he's very sweet. I've discovered about him that he listens really well, and he's very what's the word I'm looking for? He's very intentional with his like actions and his gifts, and he's just very sweet. There have been many occasions where I've had a bad day, or it's just been a long week, and he'll call me, or we'll go out on a fancy date, or whatever it is that he knows will make me feel better. And it's usually not like, obviously he enjoys it too, but it's something that he knows will make me feel better rather than something that like
yeah
he would choose to do.
Yeah, like, so tell us about the bad stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
The bad.
No, I want to hear I want to hear a dark story, or I want to hear I want to hear the struggle, pretty much, because
The struggle.
yes, because that's the realest part of relationships, probably.
Okay. I mean, our biggest struggle has always been distance, because I calculated, so we've been dating like 2 years and 2 months. And I think I calculated like 6 months of those 2 years have not been long distance. Like the rest of that has been long distance, which is insane and very challenging. If you've ever done long distance, it sucks. Like it is not fun.
I did it for a little bit, and then I avoided it like the plague.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. So, cause we were both at school, we like overlapped for, a while. So we met second semester freshman year. So we were together for those months. And then summer. So we were apart, and then fall, and then quarantine. And the rest has been long distance because he's in Rock Hill and I'm here. So that has been a huge struggle, especially just like my roommate. I love her to death. And her fiance lives like 10 minutes away. So she's always with him, which is wonderful. And he's a great guy. But it's also like a little bit painful because I'm like, I would love to be hanging out with Seth right now, but I can't because he's an hour and a half away. Yeah. So a lot of our conversations are like, I miss you. I miss you too. Wish you were here. Wish you were here too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to, force you to spend the whole time talking about your relationship, but I am curious about, you said you guys met in your second semester, and then you were dating for 2 months.
Or like that first semester is like, let's see, semester started in January and we started like officially dating in February. Okay. So
and then summer.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that like going from dating and then gone? Was it weird? Was there like not as much communication, or was there more communication?
I would say, so Seth is a really great communicator. That's another thing about him that I really like. And we've always been that way. But yeah, there's definitely a huge switch when you go from seeing someone every day to not seeing them at all.
Well, because like you it's a new relationship. And then summer hits and now you're not together anymore. What do you do? Like, are you evaluating where this relationship is going?
Are you saying basically, is Seth a good enough guy to, not see all the time and still love?
Yes, is the answer.
Had you figured that out by then, or did you figure that out after or during summer?
I had figured it out before then.
Okay.
Yeah. So Seth, back to the intentionality. When we were first talking, you have like the stage of like getting to know each other. So you're like, oh, like what's your favorite color and what's your favorite dog and all that stuff like that. But he was like, what are your views on marriage? Like, how do you feel about alcohol? Like deep questions. Like, do you ever want children? And like all these things that were like,
my boy was on a mission.
He's like, is this girl wife material?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's like,
I'm trying to wife her up quick. I don't want to be looking no more. Fight for my life.
He was just like, I don't want to play around.
Yeah.
If yours aren't right, then like I'm not gonna pursue it. And I was like, okay, like a lot of pressure sitting on my phone at like 1 a.m, like typing, trying to like think about my response. And I'm like, oh, I hope he knows what I'm talking about. And the crazy part was that like all of our answers lined up. Like we agreed on everything, which was crazy. And I think that his intentionality in that first like part of our dating was really what sealed the deal for me, being like, wow, like he really wants to like know me and like understand where I'm at and know my heart so that he can know how to love me well and how to like come alongside me. Like he wasn't trying to like just talk about himself, and he wasn't trying to like, be a weird boy, but he was trying to like be intentional. And I really appreciate But going back to the summer, so that first summer, I'm trying to think, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because we only had 2 summers. So that summer, I was actually at summer camp in California. And I had very little reception and very little Wi-Fi. So, yeah, that was really fun. Both of us basically went into a Great Depression, which was not good. But we ended up sending letters back and forth. Yeah, so I kept all of his letters, and he has all of mine. And it was just a way that we could communicate. And there were so many nights that like I would just like lay in my bed at camp and just like want to cry because I hadn't seen him for months. And I couldn't FaceTime him because the Wi-Fi was bad. And we would try to talk on the phone and it would drop like 7 times and we'd just give up. And there's a time difference too of like 3 hours. Yeah. So he would be getting off of work right as I was supposed to go to work. And so it was awful. Yeah. Horrible. Yeah. And I got back here and saw him and his whole family was like, thank goodness you're back. We didn't know if he was going to make it. Like, they were like, he was so depressed.
He's laying there like, does she still love me?
I think I remember he was calling me during this time and he was like, man, I can't, like, this is just a hard time right now. And I was like, what do you mean, man? He's like, it's just really hard to talk to Sarah and, you know, I think we're doing okay. It's just, you know, it's just like the communication's off. Because we're spoiled, man. Yeah. We're used to texting and communicating. And I feel like we can't, you know, keep up with each other if we can't do that.
I think, and this is going to sound sappy, but I personally, myself, am a hopeless romantic. It's hopeless. I think when you find half your heart and then that has to be, you know, torn away from you, it's, you know, it's going to ruin your life. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be sad.
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time. I think he's more of a romantic than I am, which is crazy. I'm also a hopeless romantic, but we talk about it all the time. Like, he's my person and I'm his person. So, like, when we're apart, it's really hard because we feel like we're not whole. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, this is a beautiful home, but, like, it's not because he's not here. Mm-hmm. And so it's that crazy, like, and that was a huge realization, like, over the summer, too. And also the fact that, like, Seth's love language, like, his top love language is physical touch. Like, he's always hugging me. He's holding my hand, you know, standing next to me. Same. And my love language is quality time. Mm-hmm. He's always hugging you and holding your hand.
Yes. Standing next to me.
And my love language is quality time. Yeah. So to part and try to, like, fulfill his physical touch and my quality time was awful over the summer.
It's like a Nicholas Sparks novel. This is a romance story. This is a love story.
When you guys gonna write your book?
Whew. I know.
I want to see a Netflix adaptation.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious because I wanna get to this.
Seth and Sarah? No. I mean, come on.
What?
That's a great name
Seth
for a show.
and Sarah. Heck yeah. Seth and Sarah. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody has written a male figure in a love novel as the name Seth.
I'm sure there's many. I'm sure.
I have no idea. But when we went to go at engagement rings once, the lady helping us was like, "What are your names?" And we were like, "Seth and Sarah," and she was like, "Oh my goodness!" She was like, "You're perfect for each other."
It sounds like the name of a novel or a show or something.
Were you born in California?
I was not. I was actually born in Virginia.
Okay. And how long did you live in California?
I lived in California for 14 years.
What was the greatest adventure you had in California while living there?
That is... So, obviously, we lived there for a long time. So, I've been to, like, the Golden Gate Bridge. I've been to Disneyland many times. I've been to the Santa Rosa Plateau, walking around. Been to wine country in Temecula. Yeah, I can't pin, like, one thing. California is a huge state.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, you can drive for 8 hours and still be in California. But yeah, my whole family is there, like my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. So just like hanging out with family, and we love being outside. So hiking, exploring. We just enjoy California a lot. And my parents are back there, and they love it. Mm-hmm. They really, really do.
Do they live close to San Francisco or LA? Where are they located at?
They're closer to LA. So San Francisco is pretty northern. Mm-hmm. My dad's from Northern California, but my mom is from Southern California.
Okay.
They live in Southern California now. So they're like an hour north of San Diego, like gotcha. An hour from Mexico.
Okay. For an hour from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Like the middle of the desert.
Yeah, really?
Like the amount of rain we get here in a month is their rain for a year.
Okay, let me ask you this. Wait, what do they call it? The winds? What are those called? The
winds.
The
winds of time.
Santana winds or something like that.
I don't know.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh crap!
I don't know.
Santa Ana.
What was that?
Santa Ana winds.
Yes. Are those real?
I honestly don't know. You'd have to ask my parents. They've lived there longer. But I went to California in the summer to help my parents move there. Mm-hmm. But before then, I hadn't been back in years. So I have not spent that much time.
What's this winds you're talking about?
Apparently, there's these winds that come off the desert and roll through California out to the Pacific. Mm-hmm. And they just roll through, and they're supposed to be like really intense and just eerie, and they make everything in your house whistle and things of that nature.
Oh,
like you can go stand against it and it'll hold you up.
Wow.
I haven't really heard of that. We have like dust devils and fires and earthquakes.
Oh yeah, the next best thing.
But you never experienced the spiritual winds.
Hold on. Friggin'
They bring the animal calls into the city. You can hear the spirits of the desert.
What was your first earthquake like?
My first earthquake, I don't remember. I've had many earthquakes in my life. One of the two that I remember the most, one of them I was packing for a vacation, and I looked up and my dresser was like banging against my wall, and I was like, and I like stepped outside and I was like, Mom, do we have an earthquake? And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. And I went back to packing. Like, they're just kind of an occurrence that happens. One time, the first time my sister ever read me a book, I was probably like 4. We were sitting in her room and she started reading the book, and an earthquake hit just her room. Because like the ripple effect of the earthquake, sometimes they like target parts of the house. So we weren't like close enough for it to hit the whole house. So it just hit her room, and she vowed never to read to me again because she figured that the earthquake was the cause of that.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't get to experience the earthquake. Uh-huh. But when I was on a missions trip to Peru, uh-huh. I was sleeping, and apparently an earthquake came through so big that everybody woke up, and everybody in the house. There were a lot of us at the missionary's house, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys feel that earthquake?" Everyone was coming out of their rooms, and I'm just sleeping, slept through it. It was big enough to wake everyone up.
Dude, it would probably felt like you were back inside the womb. You're just
I was just like
bounced around a little bit. So I don't want to take too long, but I did want to ask, and this is not to necessarily, this is kind of a celebration episode, which I told you, okay. It's a little bit of a celebration episode, because we are reaching, I think this is the last guest episode for season 7. We're going on a break, and we're hitting summer. I want to ask you, not to, pump our egos in any way, but I'm curious, what is it about the show that you actually like, that you actually are like, hey, you keep showing up to the lives, I keep seeing comments, I keep seeing you engaged. So I'm curious, what is it about the show you've liked? What have you enjoyed? What was the episode that really stuck out?
That's a great question. So I remember one of the first episodes Seth showed me was, I think it was about Dark Knight or Batman or something like that. It was a while ago. And I'm not a podcast person. Like, I don't enjoy like audiobooks and things like that. And so usually when Seth would play a podcast, it would be like we were driving somewhere that he's driven 1,000 times, and he was like, I need to listen to something besides music to stay awake. And I was like, okay, like, push through it. And so we were on our way to church, I think, and he was playing it. And I was kind of like, okay. And then he was like, no, this is like Joe and Josh's podcast. And I was like, wait, they have a podcast? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh. And so like I engaged a little more and like actively listening. And I think that you guys are just like, you're comedic, but not in a oppressed way. It's just like a natural thing because of your dynamic. And I mean, you talk about the fun things. Like everyone likes talking about movies and TV and things like that we've all seen. And I think I stayed and listened because like, I know Seth talks about a lot of people, obviously, that you guys also know. Mm-hmm. So it's nice for me to like kind of meet them the podcast because I haven't met all of them. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to get to know them a little bit and like have some context. But besides that, just like I enjoy movies. My dad and I always went to go see movies when we were little. And so I think that it's been really fun to like relive memories and like think about like movies that I've seen. And like when you're talking about MacGuffins, I was like sitting in my car thinking about Inception. I was like, does Inception have a MacGuffin? And like I'm just driving and I was like, I don't know. And then I asked on the live and you told me no. So
well, Wyatt said no.
Right.
Shrug.
It's not very, we're not getting into this again.
Anyway.
I think there's one in there someplace.
Well, I kept listening because I've enjoyed it a lot. And it's just been a nice part of like my routine. I just play it in the car when I go places, and it's nice to like have a break and like drive and listen to something besides music. Although I do enjoy like listening to music, but it's nice to like listen to other conversations. And I've really enjoyed the ranking. I enjoyed the Better Movie Ending game. I liked the one about the food, but I love food, so I know that you don't like it, though. But
I don't like food.
I don't like talking about food because, like, okay, so if there's gonna be someone in this podcast that's gonna complicate things, that's gonna like grab the reins and be like, we gotta stay within our niche, it's gonna be me.
Yeah,
because it's my natural reaction. And so when Joshua and Wyatt are like, we're going to talk about cooking, I'm like, this is not a cooking show. This is we tell stories and we talk about movies kind of show.
And you know what's funny, though, with our cooking? Mm-hmm. Every time we cook together, every time we make something, we can't have a perfect meal. It's impossible. We can't.
No.
We make the burgers, and
I thought they were a bit chewy.
You thought they were chewy.
A little fat.
Josh made tacos. I didn't get any of the guac. I didn't.
It was right there, though.
No, it was.
Well,
I opted out.
On like the little food like tangent that we're on, Seth and I are hoping to come visit this summer at some point, and I would be more than happy to cook.
Hey.
I love cooking, and I will make just about anything. But I have a few recipes that are like Seth tested and approved, so I could definitely make something. Carne asadas are like one of my specialties.
Heck yeah.
Well, see, I make deviled eggs. Everybody likes them. You don't.
I don't.
We made fish and chips. We got the cod. We put the oil in the pot. We made the fries. Potatoes. Cut up the potatoes and I've made the fries myself in the oil for years. And so that was done easy. We start making the fish, and Joe's like, oh my gosh. He's like, oh, my eyes. He's like, why are my eyes? So the rest of the night, Joe's eyes are so red.
I looked like I was on crack cocaine.
Burning, dripping water. I'm like, why can't we just have a nice meal where nothing happens?
I think we go too hard, man. We try new things. We try to like build it up, and then it becomes this thing, and something's got to go wrong. If we want it to be nice, we just got to like heat up a pizza, and that's it.
We do that so often.
Yeah, and it's always good, isn't it?
It's always good, but it's never exciting.
It's never exciting. I don't know. That first bite's pretty exciting. Well, I wanted to say this, Sarah, because we're getting close to 30 minutes, and I know you have to go here pretty soon. But I wanted to say we really appreciate you and staying engaged with the podcast. I really appreciate you talking to us, showing up for lives, just encouraging us. Because as much as like we try to provide just lighthearted entertainment for you and other people, you and a number of other people are the ones that keep us like if no one's like showing up to the lives or leaving comments, we'll just be like up here going like, what are we doing this for? Honestly, you know what I mean? And so you are just as much a part of it as we are. We're just in the studio. That's it. But we really appreciate it. I wanted to hear the final word from you. What do you want us to do for season 8 this summer? What as a viewer, what would you like to see?
That is a great question. Have you ever thought about like rating popular Vines or TikToks? Because I think that would also be a fight, but it would be very funny.
We could do that.
We could do that.
That would be fun. But the thing is, the whole podcast is just going to be us going like,
just laughing.
Shoo. That's it. It's going to be the whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
We'll look into it for sure.
Did you see the Make Your Own Crew episode yet?
No, it's not out yet.
Dang it.
It's coming out. It's coming out Monday.
Okay. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Well, when people watch this, it will have already been out. But anyways, that was a good time. Thank you very much, Sarah. We won't keep you any longer. Thank you for coming on and talking to us.
No problem. I'm glad that we could finally make it work.
Absolutely.
This is my guest bedroom.
Dude, heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
It looks awesome, dude. Are you guys...
Yeah, dude. It's original wood floors. It's pretty thick.
Wow. Dang, man.
Yeah. It was built in the 50s. I mean, actually in the 40s, so...
The 40s?
Original wood floors. Yeah, like 47.
Holy cow, man. That's awesome, man. Well, we got everything rolling, so we can just talk about whatever. So what's been going on with you lately? What's been taking up all your time?
Oof, a lot of stuff. So, just wedding planning and house decor, like decorating. And I don't know, there were some things we had to do to have it move-in ready,
Yeah.
So we've just been doing some stuff with that and just getting ready for the wedding, dude. Yeah. It's in like a week. So, a week from Friday.
I don't want to talk about this too much because I know it's a lot. I don't know if it's stressful or if it's not, but I will say, I hope this didn't stress you out. This weekend is your last weekend not married.
No, that doesn't stress me out.
Okay.
I mean,
have you thought of that?
I have, but at the same time, a lot of weekends have felt like I'm married.
Yeah.
Like I've been in a pretty serious long-term relationship, so it's really not like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, marriage is a way bigger deal than having a girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a commitment, and so it's not quite the same thing. But at the same time, as far as like, am I weird, like feeling weird about it? No, not really.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna be coming up. I'm only working a half week next week because I'm going to party for the weekend. But so this is kind of the first time you've been on the Midnight Special before, but this is kind of the first time that you've been on video with us or shown your face on this podcast. But we've talked about you a lot, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, you listen to the podcast, you have been for a while, so I'm curious, like, what has been your thoughts of listening to all these stories and all of these, like, perspectives from our opinion, but not haven't given much of your side of it yet.
I think you're just wrong about everything, really. Whatever, and whatever I'm involved in. But no, a lot of the stuff you guys talk about, like with Maranatha and Georgia, I wasn't really a part of. So it's kind of me hearing new information myself. Well, so that's cool.
Well, some of it actually, like some of the bigger Maranatha memories, honestly, you were there for. Because you went like twice or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some fun weeks. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah, you poked a snake.
Saying, yeah.
You almost killed me.
I did hear that part. That part was probably true.
It was absolutely true. I remember it so vividly. I have nightmares.
There were so many snakes. That was something I remember because I loved snakes as a kid, and I would catch any snake I could. And so at Maranatha, there were so many snakes in that big rock, and it blew my mind. And all I wanted to do was catch all the snakes. So I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry that you.
What it was, I thought that the water was high enough. I thought, it's high enough. There's not going to be anything on that shelf, under the rock. And then I got down there. And I'm in the water, and I'm at eye level, and I see a copperhead. And I'm like, all right, just wade slowly out. And then Tim comes down, I hear, oh, a snake. And starts poking it with a stick, and I'm like, just still trying to get out of the water.
There's a lot of memories, honestly, from Maranatha. And there's a lot of memories of just us growing up that, like, you can't really share them all because they have to kind of come up organically to get the really good stories. Yeah. But I wanted to hear, do you remember, because we've talked a lot just about old stories here. And so like with the Black Pirates, with the, as kids, with all of the different stories regarding adventures we've had in Boy Scouts, what has been kind of like, when we were younger, you had a really high sense of adventure, really high sense of like leading the adventure. And so what was that experience kind of being like a leader even from a young age?
So I don't know. At the young age, I don't necessarily remember thinking I have to be a leader. I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess, for a lot of stuff, like I saw a path we could take in doing it, and a lot of people saw a different path to take, and I was like, well, I really want to do this. So I was like, let's do this. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, my memories of you has always been like, so I've hung out with a lot of people growing up. You a lot, the Goforth a lot, Seth. And so, the Goforths are people of their own. I wouldn't say you guys just like step into leadership, but there was an adventurous side to you guys. Seth, not so much on the adventure, but definitely the desire for leadership. You, the desire, the natural response to leadership, whether you're processing it or not, and also the adventure side. And so I kind of felt like I was in this vortex of just like different individuals and different personalities being pulled in different directions. I kind of felt like I had to change my mindset every time I went to a different group.
That makes sense. I know I was pretty intense. I know I was pretty intense.
Good though.
So it was like I remember as a kid I just wanted people to like respect me. I don't know why, but it was always like I had a big respect thing. So I was like, you don't like it? Let's fight. Like, that's how we deal with it, I don't know. So if someone had a disagreement, I'm like, okay, well, let's settle it. Spit on your hand, we'll shake it out, or we're going to fight. Like, I don't know.
And then you'll spit on your hand and shake it out.
And then you spit on your hand and shake it out. Like, I don't know. Even I know I heard some stuff that Seth was saying, like, with Black Pirates, I probably said that he couldn't join and stuff. I know. Dude, I was fine with it. Like, for me, like, we'll have bad blood one day. The next day, I've never even thought about it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to.
We know Seth. he's like thinking about it.
No, Seth's in his head a lot of times. I mean, he processes things to the point where it's like too much processing, you know?
Right. For me, like, even when I'm pissed off about something, as a kid, I was always like, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to be pissed off at these people for like until next week. And the next day I'm like, oh crap, I'm not mad anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Like, but
I remember, especially when we were younger. Now, when we were younger, and you experienced this, there was the sense of kind of like, me and you are roughly the same age, and so we always had the people we were hanging out with was always like a few years younger, and so they kind of looked up to you or myself to kind of like figure out what adventure we're gonna go on. And so, did you ever sense, like, I know I've talked to you about this personally, like just one-on-one, but I think it's interesting for just like the podcast is kind of, did you ever process kind of the dynamic that me and you had as far as like, because even in Black Pirates, we were at odds against each other. I mean, you guys literally did a ceremony and kicked me out of it.
Yeah. Whatever. You always have to bring that up.
It's a good story.
I know you're salty about it, but it happened, okay?
Yeah.
No, I most definitely... See, I remember, like, us as leaders, so we both were captains in Black Pirates, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember as leaders, I was kind of always jealous of you. And sometimes because you didn't have to roll with like a heavy hand and people still wanted to follow you. You know what I mean? Like I had to make Josh follow me because he didn't always want to.
Joshua. I was like, now the thing is, it was reversed because I was like, how do I get a freaking heavy hand? Like I can't seem to just like not think about how they're going to think about me after.
I was thinking the opposite. I was like, how can I like get leadership but not be such a like force them to follow me?
But as a pirate though, I think that's a quality. I mean, Blackbeard was ruled with a heavy hand.
But no, I definitely like a lot of times when we did stuff together, you were more of like a I guess more of like a steady, like you were like, oh, that's probably not the best idea, like let's do this, and like you would think through it a little more, so we would still like go on the same adventure, but we would do it a little like take a better path to it. You know, let's not all just jump off the cliff, like let's climb down this little path right here and we can get to the water. You know?
Well, I've always prided myself at attempting to stay on like, now we've had Noah on the podcast and he told us a lot about adventures and just kind of daredevil kind of things. He doesn't like using that word, but kind of things of that nature. That's something that you guys have always pushed myself and my brother and other people you're around to be a part of. And so I've always like thought I want to try to match that level. But I know honestly, like physically, I can't match it. And at the same time, I always just was like, no.
You were a beast.
Well, I know I was a bigger kid.
A beast back in the day, dude.
I was a bigger kid. I actually remember this. I thought of this the other day. There was one time, like, when we were actually at Maranatha, and we saw our shadows being casted on the ground, and I just have, my dad's, like, he looks like a teddy bear. Mm-hmm. So he's, like, shorter, he's stocky, and he always has been. So I kind of inherited his body, and so my shoulders just stuck out naturally, right? And I remember you... When you were younger, you weren't playing football, you weren't bodybuilding at all, and so your shoulders were like this big, and
I was a scrawny
your arms
guy.
kind of like touched, and I remember you like specifying, you were like, "Look at our shadows. Your arms hang down at your side. Mine like touches my body. I want someday to where my arms just naturally like don't touch my body." I remember that. I don't know why.
That's hilarious because I do not remember it at all.
That was like a goal of yours, man. You were like, someday I don't want to have my arms touching me.
I do remember wanting to have broad shoulders.
Yeah.
Because having broad shoulders just makes you look strong even if you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your whole body is shaped differently where you're not like, oh, that dude's just a punk. You're like, oh, okay, respect.
Yeah, well, you kind of like, you have to like feel it out if you're going to try to contend with them physically.
Right. Because I remember you had broad shoulders and you were thick as a kid.
Yeah.
Like you weren't fat, but you were thick. And so we would wrestle and like, yeah, I could get out of your holds, but I couldn't like pin you down. Like I couldn't beat you. It was, I think most of the time, if I remember right, when we wrestled, it was kind of like, oh, we've been wrestling for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like,
it's because you were squirming, man. You were squirming. I'm just like trying to use my weight against you, and you would just like slip out of it.
See, I wasn't a very athletic. I was short, and I've always been overweight. So
not always.
Yeah. Well, once I got into my teens, especially. Okay. So my first instinct, as far as the athleticism, was be the first to run. You know this.
Yeah.
People have heard this. They know the stories.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard on the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be the first person, unless there's someone that desperately needs protecting, that obviously can't run or is small, or is going to be eaten by the bear.
Yeah.
Save them. But if the other guys can run just fine, I got to be out first. Otherwise, they're going to pass me, and I'm going to be the one that the bear gets first.
So it was a survival lesson. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always a bear, too. It's always a bear in the situation.
At Maranatha, it was very possible for it to be a bear.
A black bear, though.
Oh,
right.
It's not grizzlies roaming.
Yeah, a black bear could still kill you.
Yeah, for sure. But do you think honestly, if you were going to fight a black bear, would you put up a pretty good fight?
No.
You sure?
Positive.
Well, I don't think a black bear would really try to fight you. Black bears are not, unless you're around like their cub or something.
Yeah.
I don't think black bears are very aggressive.
Yeah, and I know.
Unless you're like.
I know that's always been the fear, though, that you run across some baby bears.
Yes.
And then you get, like Leo in The Revenant. You just get mauled.
Oh, yeah.
Just destroyed.
Yeah. That would stink.
They just keep playing with you, man. They just keep ripping you apart.
I mean,
oh yeah, you just have to like play dead. I think they don't like dead food.
They always said, in bear survival, if it starts attacking you, curl up in a ball, do all that stuff. I'm sorry, I saw what it did to Leo. It doesn't matter if you're in a ball or not. You're gonna die.
It's gonna start playing. It's gonna start playing like volleyball.
Yeah, kicking you around.
You're essentially a toy at that point.
I did prize myself on climbing.
Okay.
I may not have like the endurance, but I've always been able to climb.
You can get up on a limb.
I could still climb.
Yeah.
I was jumping in and out of the dumpster today.
Yeah.
And
you're like, that was easy.
I hopped up, threw both my legs up and over the dumpster. I'm jumping off, holding myself up in the air. I'm like, wow, I'm still pretty good at this.
Yeah, my sisters do that about once a week.
Ethan tried.
They look for food. They look for food in the dumpster.
Do they really?
No.
I know.
I'm not gonna tell you how serious I am, but
I know there's people that do the dumpster diving thing and look for used things and stuff. Yeah. I do it because I work at an apartment complex. Mm-hmm. So if I see a chair, I'm gonna grab that chair if I need the chair.
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen some good stuff in dumpsters.
I saw
like a full desk.
Yeah. There's been furniture and all sorts of stuff. I saw today. We live in a military area.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the lookout for those. What are they called? Belleville Army boots. Mm-hmm. They're like $200 shoes. So I'm always looking for those Bellevilles in my size. Mm-hmm. And today I saw some, and so I hopped in the dumpster, and they looked like they had been sitting in a shed because they had spider webs, and it looked like an old lady or something moved into the apartment, and there were still the Army boots, and so she tossed them out or something.
And did you keep them?
And I grabbed them. They're 10 and a halves, so I'm not going to fit in them. But I'm not, letting those $200 shoes be thrown in the trash.
Or someone could have died and they didn't fit her, so she just threw them away.
Yeah.
Never know.
An old lady walking around.
Well, I'm just saying, like, a lot of times, I know a lot of times people trash stuff just because it's not the right size, and it's like, oh, well, I'm a 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
I can slide into a 10 and a half.
I know. Dude, that happened to us. I mean, we had 10 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So anytime anyone was throwing away anything, Mom would be like, give it our way. Someone will fit it.
Yeah. Well, see,
someone will fit it.
Yeah, it's just a numbers game.
It was either the second or third week. I was going through the trash. I wasn't going through. I was operating the trash compactor. And at the top were sitting 2 pairs of shoes. One was a pair of running shoes, Pumas, and the other was a pair of like Nike Air somethings, 168s or something. They're both upwards of $90 to $100.
Yeah.
For both those shoes, and they were in great condition, and they were my size.
Heck yeah.
So I
grabbed them.
Ooh,
grab those. Heck yeah.
nice. Now you'd be looking fresh in the Nike.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I've got a mushroom chair that they didn't throw it in the dumpsters, that they set it in front of the dumpsters just in case anybody wanted it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm maxed
You're making
out.
it out. Every day you're getting something new, man.
Dude, especially apartment complex dumpsters, because they'll just set, if they're moving or something, they can't take it, they'll just set furniture out there. I've seen chairs and love seats. I've seen the whatever, like the TV stands, like sick ones.
Yeah.
That's where we got ours. The neighbor had just had it out on their front lawn, and we just walked over there, grabbed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably weird. I'm always looking in the trash.
Yeah,
every
it's
day
all right.
I get there and I'm like, oh, looking in the dumpsters.
Like,
Okay.
Is anybody looking? Okay.
Just dive in.
Just jump. Woo! Oh, but
I'm
Here I go.
she.
I wanted to ask you, Tim. So something that I've always noticed, kind of on a more like deeper level, you've always been like loyalty and respect has always been something that's really important to you, and I think that still stands true today, like loyalty and respect, and it was kind of cultivated. I didn't realize it when I was younger, but through the years, I've seen it, like, it's always kind of been there. And so have you ever, like, processed that that's, like, a high value of yours? And, like, what are your thoughts on that for you personally, you know?
I have, because I know as a kid, I was told by certain people, like, I love you, and I was like, whatever, cool. But do you respect me? Like, I don't know. As guys, especially with guys, I don't really need them to love me.
Yeah.
But I want them to respect my friendship, as I respect theirs, and have like a mutual respect and loyalty. Like I'll always have your back if you have my back,
Yeah.
And obviously that was kind of a misconception as a kid, because that's also love, it's also love as a friend. But for some reason, I was always big on respect, and it's kind of not as much now that I'm an adult, because with Esther, I don't as much crave respect as just that we both know that we are obsessed and in love with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and respect kind of comes with it.
Yeah.
Because if you love someone and you are thinking about them before yourself, then you're going to respect their opinions and their ideas. And as a kid, I kind of thought respect comes first, But I'm still big on it. I like to respect people's opinions and their beliefs, even if it's not the same as mine.
Yeah.
Because everyone leads different lives, you don't know what they've been through, and you don't know what's cultivated their life into their belief system.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah.
I think people definitely need to respect each other.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, like, I think you're right about that with guys, because if guys grow up in an environment where it's all about love and they don't actually learn things about respect and about loyalty, then
right.
It almost feels like you're an incomplete, and I know masculinity is not popular these days, honestly, if we're being real honest.
Right.
But
most definitely.
The thing is, like, we can't deny that masculinity has a crap ton of benefits, and it's very important for us. It's literally a part of our identity.
guys need it.
Yeah.
They need it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, it's important. Like, you have to have masculinity as a man.
Yeah.
And today's culture is trying to rip that from you. And it's like, man, you can't take a man out of a man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And loyalty and respect is like one of the core things. And it almost like, you know, I mean, we've known, both of us have known, what are you laughing at? You can't take the man out of him. What are you laughing at, Wyatt? That's great.
Like, Daddy's just going to be a boy. You're going to have a boy forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of,
I agree with that statement. I just thought it was funny.
But I was just saying, like, I think, because we all know guys that, like, are a little more feminine, and it does kind of feel like you're missing something. If you're trying to be their friend, it feels like you're really missing something there. Because guys to guy friendships, it is based around loyalty and respect. And if it's just based around love, well, then it's not. It's an incomplete friendship that, you know, is something that's deep embedded inside our psyche.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't really understand it entirely, but yeah, you look like you have a thought.
I feel like I have a thought. I'm really not sure. It's
Still
lingering.
processing?
I'm sort of processing
Yeah.
what you're saying and coming up with something to say.
Yeah. Well, I brought it up just because, honestly, Tim, like you were the one that kind of, because that was something that was so strong for you when we were younger. That was your actions were kind of the thing that got me processing that early on, the value of loyalty and respect, and actually learning those lessons. And even some of the ways that you treated me, like sometimes, like if we would get pissed at each other and you would come behind and just be like, we had a huge fight, but then we're just still friends because there's loyalty and then there's also respect there.
Right.
Yeah, you those were lessons that were like really important to me, because that actually started cultivating in my mind, what are healthy friendships for me to have today, you know?
Right. Because there's always going to be a beef, you know?
Yeah.
We're teenagers, like, barely hit puberty.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to argue.
Yeah.
But it's about, like, what do you do the next day? Or, like, what are you coming back and saying, my bad, bro? Like, that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And you're cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to stay pissy about it and be a little girl about it.
Yeah.
Like, fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, especially, and we all know this. We all have a bunch of siblings.
Yeah.
With siblings, you kind of have to love them.
Yeah.
Right. And so the love and the loyalty come first. With your siblings, you almost learn to respect them later on, because you know they're your siblings. You don't have to respect them. That's my stupid brother.
Honestly, that's a good point, because I was thinking about this.
That is a good point.
I was thinking about something along these lines, where it's like, what's the difference between an obligatory relationship and a relationship you've chosen for yourself?
Yeah.
And siblings in your family are the obligatory relationships. You can come to be friends and respect each other, but ultimately it is based around an obligation, and then you figure out what to do with that. With friends, it's literally like, I've chosen to be in your life, and you've reciprocated.
Well, what it is, even more so, is throughout your friendship, throughout your adventures or your hangouts or whatever, you have built number one, you've built like inside joke type stuff.
Yes.
You've built and you've tested each other's loyalties, and you've tested each other's, you know, likes and dislikes, and matched or not matched.
Yeah.
And so the loyalty and respect for each other builds.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the point where it's almost the opposite with friends. The respect and loyalty comes first, and then as you know, later in life, that you realize how much you love these people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That makes total sense. And I think that's why I was so big on respect and loyalty with my friends, is because at home I was mostly raised by my mom, and you know, she doesn't understand that as far as I was considered.
Yeah.
As far as I cared, she didn't know what I was talking about. So. And then with my siblings, it's like, well, obviously I love you guys, but I really don't want to hang out with you because you're annoying. You know, sometimes, except my Isaac and Josh, obviously we were a pair. Like with them, it was kind of like they were my best friends too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're
similar.
It was a mix.
It feels like your family doesn't respect you. It really does. It feels like your siblings don't respect your space. They don't respect your time. They don't respect your sleep. They don't respect anything you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
They think you're dumb.
They think you're dumb. Right? And even to some extent, right? I got to be careful saying this because my parents are so good.
Yeah.
Your parents don't respect your more of your space. It's more of, especially and you don't notice it when you're a kid, but as you get older, and in my case, I was an adult. I was living at home, and when you're an adult and you're at home, you start noticing how much your parents don't respect your space.
Yeah.
Or your or even your time.
Yeah.
And it's in no way like malicious.
No, it's literally just a psychological phenomenon or a behavior phenomenon that everyone falls into.
Yeah.
If you're around somebody, you live with somebody.
But with your friends, you've you notice very quickly that your friends will respect your time. They respect your space.
Yeah.
They respect your opinion, what you have to say.
Yeah.
Right. To your friend, you're equal,
Yeah, you'll be having a bad day and they won't start talking to you and start messing with you and start horsing around with you. They'll look at you and be like, you're having a bad day. I'll have a bad day with you.
Or they'll just respect you enough to either give you space or just not press into it.
Yeah. Or it's like, hey man, do you have the time to, come over? Do you want to come over?
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll text you, where you going? I'd like to meet up or something. Mm-hmm. Whereas my parents are like, hey, watch the kids. I'm going out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
No.
I am a grown man.
Yeah.
You're not my mom.
You're not my
dad. Hey, no, but I totally understand that. And even your parents, they may not do it on purpose, but they had a vision for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you have your own vision for your life at this point because you're an adult and they're still kind of treating you as a kid, and it's kind of hard to make that transition in your parents' head.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if they're not trying to, it's like I'm not a little baby anymore, Mom. I'll take care of it, But at the same time, it is their house still, and I still respect it. But at the same time, it's I am an adult, and I'm gonna make my own decisions, and I hope you respect that as much as I respect you.
Well, it's when you can't. They have a hard time respecting your decisions when you're living at home, because you're like, guys, I'm making my own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, but you're living at home. It's like, yeah, you're making decisions, but they're not real decisions.
Yeah.
Right?
They're like, oh, those decisions? Yeah, they're fake.
Yeah, they're not real. But it's not like when I moved out, I expect them to, this is a real decision and it's a big decision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I expected them to respect it. I wasn't looking for that.
Yeah.
But I know my dad does. I know my mom does. I know that they look, they don't have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that they respect that I've made a decision.
Yeah.
And that I am making my own decisions.
Yeah.
And now that I'm out of the house, they're like, yeah, he's doing it.
Do your thing.
Right. It's easier for them to respect it because you're not, I don't know, I guess for them, as if you're living in the house, they still kind of have a say. They still kind of make the final decision.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I couldn't go places without being like, I'm going out. And then everybody's like, where? Everyone in the house. Where you going? Where?
Can I come?
Where you going? Where you going? You going somewhere?
They all just line up. They're like, where?
I already put my shoes on. I'm ready to go.
Going out.
Yeah.
Or if,
Like,
God forbid, you go out without telling anyone.
oh, dude, that's what happened with me. That's where I started just leaving.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell anybody, and they'd sometimes just forget about me, so I was fine. But sometimes Mom would text me at like 12 a.m. She's like, "Where are you here? Where are you?" Like, I'm out. Don't worry about
Where?
it.
Yeah.
Where? I'm out.
I'm out. Out and about.
Out and about.
I wanted to ask.
I'm doing illegal stuff, Mom. Okay. Jeez.
I have my weeds.
Drugs.
I'm
smoking beer. Okay.
I'm doing alcohol.
Doing alcohol.
Yeah,
That's good.
smoking beer.
Whippets.
Smoking beer. Okay. Jeez.
Smoking beer. All right. I'm being rebellious. This is a rebellious time. I'm curious, Tim. So when you listen to the podcast semi-regularly,
yeah, this season I've listened to every episode.
Dang.
Oh, I
dude.
thought he was gonna go.
This season. No, I knew you've been listening. I didn't know every episode. That's impressive, man.
Wow.
That's dedication.
Well, I have a lot of free time, and I started to acquire a taste for it, and it's like, well, I need my Wiseworks time.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's the main goal, man.
What do you think of my voice? Is it really just terribly nasally to you?
Super obnoxious.
It is to me too. My gosh. I try to go back and listen to the videos sometimes.
No, dude. Everyone's voice is annoying to themselves. If I get on like a home video and listen to my voice, I'm like, the frick is he? Like, who is this retard?
Are you gonna skip this part of this podcast if you choose to listen to it?
Not necessarily. I'll just probably cringe a lot.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't worry about it. Now, okay, so since you've been so engaged in the podcast, especially this season, but also for a while, you've been on this podcast once before, the Midnight Special. What would you like to see this summer? Because we are trying to keep things consistent, steady, but we're coming back with season 8, and this is kind of like a celebration, like, talking to you guys, end of the season episode.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see this summer? Maybe just like,
so I know.
maybe just like what you actually even enjoyed from this past season.
Okay. So I do like the midnight specials. I know Esther likes the midnight specials a lot because it's kind of like all over the place, and I know she likes the conversations that start to trail off into other conversations. But I enjoy the midnight special. I really liked the guy that was on Forged in Fire. That episode was awesome. Yeah. That was a sweet episode. I went in and YouTube and searched him and started watching his videos and stuff. Dude, that's some bad stuff right there.
He cares so much about making his stuff look good.
It's sweet.
He's got
dude.
lasers
That's
going
crazy.
around. He's got a million candles lit just to display a blade.
I love that he doesn't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah, he really
doesn't care if he needs to get.
That's the best type of creator.
He doesn't care if he's like if the Master Smiths recognize it, like the ABS certified Master Smiths recognize him. He doesn't care.
He doesn't even care that he won
seems
the.
like he's just having a good time.
Yeah, he
Sorry.
really no.
Seems like he's just having a good time.
He is having a good time, and did you ever watch Forged in Fire on Netflix?
Well, I did after that, but I had a while ago, but it wasn't the season with him.
Yeah,
Well,
I've watched all of them.
he just casually wins his episode. All the other guys are stressing, and he's like,
oh man,
he's just like having a great time.
I've watched episodes where dudes are struggling.
Yeah.
Struggling. And then I've watched episodes where guys like him just breeze through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes the sword at the end. The falchion he made. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That thing is a work of art.
Yeah. It's crazy good.
Some people are better under pressure too, but and especially if they're not like depending on it, they're not really super worried about what other people think as long as they're following their own dream. They don't put as much like pressure on themselves probably, So
You have you been enjoying our movies of the decades?
Sheesh. Sheesh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't have the same movie taste.
Yeah.
I have a very similar. Like Braveheart is like top 3 movies of all time.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
No,
See,
I agree.
I'm the war. Like all of the stuff Joshua talks about, bro. He does not know what he's talking about. like what was that movie?
Ready Player One.
That movie the other? Oh my gosh, bro! That's not one of the best movies in the freaking world.
Everybody's been saying this.
Josh was getting so much hate.
Decent. That movie's decent at best.
Seth called and he's like, "What is Josh talking about?"
He was like yelling. He's like, "That's ridiculous."
I watched it and I was like, "Yeah, that was pretty entertaining," but there were so many holes in it, and it just wasn't realistic to me. And plus, I would never want that to be my future ever. Like that'd be my least favorite future.
Yeah, outcome. But that's his biggest argument for the movie is that he dreams of that.
Right. So his argument of it being a good movie is just because he wants that to be the future. I'm like, dude, that's not even a good argument.
He was going on, and I'm like, I just have to stop you right there.
Why is this a better movie?
And I understand though. I like that he has his own taste and he's going to argue for it. But even the other thing with Hook and Saving Private Ryan. I mean, it's cool, but Saving Private Ryan's better,
dude. Freaking.
A lot of people are saying that.
A lot of people are saying it.
He says that he put up a poll on Instagram. He says that Hook won in the poll of about 50 people-ish.
I don't think...
I haven't seen any screenshots. I haven't seen any...
He didn't share this data.
We told him next time he does a poll, he has to take screenshots and stuff.
I did vote, and it, like right when you vote, it shows the percentages, but I don't remember.
Oh, man.
So,
well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is I really like Gladiator. And that was in 2000. So I think Gladiator's up there. Dude.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I truly love it too.
Because The Last Samurai, amazing. Gladiator, amazing. I don't know if I could choose between that. I would probably choose. They're both amazing, but even The Patriot.
Yeah.
I really like The Patriot too. Like I like those types of movies.
Yeah.
I just do.
I'm
one of those guys. It's like, oh, yes.
You mentioned all the movies. Like I ultimately went with The Last Samurai because for me, it really speaks to me. But I was gonna pick. I had Patriot, Master and Commander, Gladiator.
I had Gladiator on my list.
I had all these movies and The Last Samurai.
The problem is we created a rule at the front that you got to pick 3 from the decade. We each get 3.
I wanted to keep it diverse.
And so what I would do is I would pick 6, and then I would work through them. And Gladiator was on my 6, and it was actually on my top 4, and I had to eliminate it.
And it's not as diverse if you pick all these like war movies, but I don't know. I don't cry in like a chick flick, but if I like freaking Gladiator, I'll shed some tears. I love that.
Dude, you'll be over there just
The Last Samurai. We watched it. We watched it the other night, but it wasn't the other night, but it was the time before that I watched it.
Yeah.
That I'm just sitting there crying, bawling my eyes out, just like ugly crying. Just. Whew.
Well. We did record last night.
Yeah.
The final top 3 of what we think is the final top 3 since the 60s.
Ooh.
And it is based on the list that is based on the list of all the tops from the decades that we made. So
you guys did good.
Thank you.
I mean, like I said, I really like The Prestige also though.
Yeah.
Because I like The Prestige is so different, and it kind of like got me like kind of like Inception, but a little different. It was kind of different, and there were different twists, and I was super invested in The Prestige, and plus, I love Hugh Jackman, and I love
Christian Bale.
Yeah, and so also really The Dark Knight. That movie's so good.
So good.
I think it's so much better. In my opinion, it's so much better than Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that little thing with Seth, he was a little bit salty when he called us.
Yeah, Seth just called a few minutes just to get his feelings out for a bit.
He was like,
no, and
he was like, Wyatt, I don't appreciate you just hanging up on me like that.
But I think you guys ultimately, with what you have, you made good picks. Not just like, oh, this movie was like really good, but you kind of were diverse, with as far as like Avatar, with how advanced it was, and with the like CGI, and you kind of kept it because you're not just going to choose all one genre of movies.
Yeah.
So I thought you guys did good.
Thanks, man.
Well, we were
I definitely like a lot of the picks.
I know I can't speak for the others, but I only know that I really tried to make sure I didn't just pick movies I liked, because I knew when we did the 60s and 70s, I did. That's what I picked movies I liked.
Yeah, and me and Joshua didn't see any of them.
And you didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
So they didn't make the cut.
And the fact that we didn't know them also means probably a lot of people didn't know.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They were all good movies. I could have made a list by myself of better movies than some of the ones we had on the list.
But it would be in your opinion.
But it would be in my opinion, and it would be.
It's not as much.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not, everybody knows Braveheart. Everybody knows, Samurai.
Avatar, Pirates of the
Avatar,
Caribbean.
Inception. Everybody knows these movies.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have seen even like Pearl Harbor, like because that has the love story, and then I know Esther hadn't seen it, and I watched it with her like 2 years ago, and she was bawling her eyes out because it has the love story and like that twist, and it's crazy, but it's good. And that's why movies like Gladiator and Last Samurai and Braveheart, like, yeah, it's been around forever. Yeah, everyone knows. Yeah, it's nothing new, but yeah, it's like the best movie ever. You know?
They really are. They're good.
Well, I will say this. Because you really love Braveheart, I'm just going to do a quick tease. You are going to be on the edge of your seat for this episode.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, you are going to, right up to the very end, I'm not going to say if you're going to be super satisfied or super disappointed. I'm just going to say you're going to be on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Oh, I love Braveheart. I just watched it again. So I'm not super like you guys where I'll watch a movie more than once, even if I like it. I do not watch shows. I've only ever watched The Office more than once, and that's just an episode or so. I usually watch a movie once and I'm like, oh, I'm good. But unless it's one of those, like Braveheart, Gladiator, Last Samurai, Last of the Mohicans, Pearl Harbor, like all these movies that I am obsessed with, like Swiss Family Robinson, Pirates of the Caribbean, Spirit. I don't know, movies that like give me that
Spirit claps, and it's so underrated. Everybody
does.
Esther and I just watched Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Because I had some of those that I grew up on, and she just watched it for the first time. And then we both grew up on Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. That movie's the best.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just a couple of homeschool kids. Of course we both grew up on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just throwing out, you're just name dropping all these good movies.
Oh, yeah. They're, like, it's just movies that bring back that feeling. So typically, like, I'll never watch Ready Player One again. What I'm saying is I don't typically watch movies more than once unless it's like I'm not that more than once movie guy most of the time. It's a very special occasion unless I'm with friends watching a movie and they want to. Like, okay.
Have you seen 1917?
Is that the horror?
No, it's the World War I film. It's all in like one take.
Is it older?
No, it's new.
Oh no!
Man, it is good.
Well, I haven't seen it either, Tim.
I really love it, and I'm not a huge, especially like the World War I, World War II movies. But I love this movie.
Yeah,
it is so good.
Does it hold up to other war films?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely,
I'll have to watch it because I like a good, like, even Fury. Like you guys were saying, Hacksaw Ridge. Some of those, like, they're all great.
You'll like
Brothers in Arms. Yeah. Or Brothers, that TV show.
Band of Brothers.
Band of
Brothers.
Yeah. I think you'll like 1917. Give it a watch.
I'm sure I will. I'm kind of like, oh, like, you're a guy, so you probably just like war movies. And I'm like, Kind of.
Yeah.
But
There's truth in that.
I don't know. I like the romance in them too, like in Braveheart and all those. There's romance.
Yeah,
you know.
dude, in Braveheart, it's intense romance. It's like earth shattering.
Dude, the one in Last Samurai is subtle, but I love it. It's
super subtle.
But I love it.
Oh, it's sweet. It's awesome. For sure. And even sometimes like the wife dying and him not finding anyone else is way better because it's like it's such a heartbroken, like gut-wrenching love loss.
Yeah.
And he's doing this all for revenge, and it makes it kind of like, oh yeah, I can see this happening.
Yeah.
Like homie's got a broken heart.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, like William Wallace, he marries the idea of freedom for Scotland, you know, instead of finding another person to love.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
And that's awesome, dude, because I know Mel Gibson movie wasn't like super spot on, but I've gone into depth with William Wallace because I love him, and I did a bunch of research papers, and his story is so much freaking crazier than even that movie.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. That dude was a bad dude. He was like 7 feet tall. Though.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's like 5'9".
Yeah. And I think they referenced that in the movie. They're like, isn't he supposed to be taller?
Yeah. No, but Mel Gibson did a great job. I mean, he's got a big personality. So, but so back to what you were saying. Sorry, I think that I also liked when you guys were doing the alternate movie endings.
Alternate endings.
Or book endings. Yeah.
That was fun.
I think especially for like the midnight special, maybe do some more stuff like that.
Okay.
Because or even not just midnight special, but like summer, because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think.
I kind of want to do, and I haven't proposed fully the idea to the guys, but I would like to make the midnight special feel filled with a lot of story type stuff. Mm-hmm. Because the ending, the alternate ending thing, is something you can read. There's no visuals. Nobody has to see it. I have an idea for a write a better Joker story, and I'd like to do that one as a midnight special. We've got some plans for that.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
True. Like make an alternate Joker.
The Joaquin Phoenix Joker that came out recently was okay in my opinion, but it wasn't a great portrayal of who the Joker is in the comics or in past movies and shows.
Right.
And I think it would be fun to write our own Jokers and stay true to how he is, but also give him more, give him a backstory, give him unique character development.
That's cool.
See what we can do.
I thought it was a good movie as well. I don't think it really stuck to like the comic version of Joker.
Yeah.
But I think it was a good movie. I mean, it definitely like whoa.
It was.
Like,
yeah.
It was a wild ride. It was definitely kind of like right. It was definitely like whoa. Like,
yeah.
Dang, that's twisted.
Yeah.
I kind of sometimes like the real twisted movies, and that was. I know there was one with Jake Gyllenhaal. Nocturnal Animals.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty good. You guys probably maybe not seen it.
No, I saw it. I saw it. It is good.
Did you?
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah.
That's why I like Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler's also creepy.
Yeah. Whew.
He's a weirdo.
So Jake Gyllenhaal is a weirdo, but he's a great actor.
He can play a weirdo.
Did you see Southpaw?
Yeah.
Oh, Southpaw's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Well, actually, I think hold on. Esther's texting me. Oh, she said, is the light okay for Tim? Yeah, it's fine.
Oh. Yeah, I know you have other people to get on.
Well, actually, it's just Esther. And so,
okay.
But I am picking up Kenzie tonight from the airport. So I probably need to go ahead and talk to Esther and then have some time with her. But, cool. But yeah, dude, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. I respect you.
I respect you. I love you.
Cool. I'm gonna go jump in a dumpster. So.
Hey,
all right.
It's always a good time.
I'm starting to get this new like I kind of need like a little love seat.
Yeah.
Or like I need some corner chairs, so I may look around.
Hey, go to a nice apartment complex, scope it out. You know, look around.
Yeah.
They're always throwing stuff out.
Hey.
Word.
So what's been going on in your life? What's new? How's things going?
Everything's new. Everything.
Yeah.
This is all uncharted territory.
Literally,
New
I think the
house,
space you're in is new.
New, wedding preparations, probably like new dishes, new couches, new boyfriend.
Everything. Yeah, but the one on the side, no big deal. So where's Josh tonight?
He we were gonna try to squeeze us all in here, but this afternoon he hurt his back at work.
Okay.
I think he actually hurt his back on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he's really feeling it today.
Yeah, so
Real bad.
he's laying out in bed in the other room. He's not sick or anything. He's just in pain. So he was like, I don't think I could sit in a chair. It's going to be a tight fit anyway.
He's not sick or anything. He's just in pain.
He's just in pain.
I was gonna ask you guys. So, like with the podcast, did you have to like sync your work schedules? Like, did you have to make that work, or did it just so happen that you were off on the same days?
We are not the ones being interviewed here.
See, okay, the thing is, you're already pulling out a pro move.
Yeah, no, that's important. About this. That's really.
Did you know you're pulling out a pro podcaster move right now? The thing is,
sorry.
No, it's all right. It's good.
Amazing.
It shows you have a skill level. Yeah, apparently a pro move in podcasting is to go on someone else's show and start interviewing them about their stuff.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question.
Okay. Just this one time.
I mean, you can keep it up. If you're a professional, keep being a professional. But pretty much what we did is we all got jobs that were off weekends. We decided that we're just going to shoot for 2 nights a week in the weekdays.
Yeah.
So we could have weekends to just chill and hang out. And so, or just do whatever else. And so we just picked Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's kind of stuck that throughout the semester. So
yeah.
we just wait for all of us to get off work, and then we record into the wee hours of the night.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I get off the latest. I get off at 5.
Yeah.
And then I get here around 5:20.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like literally when we do in the Instagram lives, Wyatt basically just got home like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we get on Instagram live and start talking, and then once we cut that off, in like 10 minutes we're recording an episode, and sometimes we are recording 2 episodes that night. So we just work that way.
Yeah. Josh is always like, man, because I get home right after work, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying to get cleaned up. I'm trying to, and Josh's like, man, your feet. Oh my gosh. I'm like, man, you know what? You've had like an hour and a half to let your feet air out, to get clean. I'm coming in. I'm taking off my work shirt, changing into some pajama pants or something that's relatively clean.
Yeah.
Just
oh yeah, you got pajama pants on right
now. Always.
He's wearing pajama pants now. He puts on his hoodie and his pajama pants.
Oh, when Sarah was on, I walked in and I was like, oh crap, she's gonna see the pajama pants.
Well, okay, so I want to ask you questions now. So I want to know.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we've known each other for a couple of years, since you've been the boo of my good friend. I pretty much have gotten to know you over the time. And then out of nowhere, you become like a super fan of the podcast. And how we specify super fans at this point is you're always like leaving comments. You're always showing up for the lives. You're engaging. You're actually chatting with us. We really appreciate it. But also, I want to know, like, what got you into it?
I mean, you're engaged right now.
Right now.
Yeah, I'm very engaged. I am very engaged.
Heck yeah. She getting married.
Layers to that joke, man.
No, but I don't know. Like, I love social media for that reason, because like I think it does a good job of like, you guys are in Virginia Beach and we're in South Carolina, and it kind of keeps us connected. Yeah. Obviously there's things that I don't like about it, but I don't know. So I kind of started listening. The first time I listened was probably right at a year ago, when Tim was listening to one. I was just kind of listening, and it was you guys and Seth
and I don't even think Wyatt was on it. I'm not sure if he was or not, but so we listened to that one, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of funny. Like, I like the dialogue between you guys. Like, you guys can all like pick at each other and like make digs and stuff. And so I just kind of started listening on my own. And then it wasn't until you guys started doing the Instagram lives that I really started kind of getting into it. Because I really like the lives. They're just usually fun and upbeat. And then the midnight specials was kind of where I actually started listening to the podcast. I always really liked the midnight specials because you guys kind of just like start one thing and then 10 minutes later you're talking about something completely different. And you're so dived into it at that point. And then a couple minutes later you're on something else, you know? So I really, really have enjoyed those.
Yeah, yeah.
But
well,
I don't know, it's just fun. I like the dialogue.
Yeah, we've kind of figured out that the midnight special is where people kind of do get engaged more. Yeah. If they find the midnight special, which, I mean, we know each other personally, and so it's easier to, find where our stuff's at. But for people that are coming in, there's a lot of them haven't even found the midnight special yet. Like, I know because even some of the numbers don't even line up. And so the midnight special is kind of the place where the real people that are interested are hanging out, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was just saying to Wyatt, like, I've never met him personally, but I feel like I know him because you guys interact with him and then some of the stories, and then Tim connects to some of those stories. Yeah. And so after I've listened to you guys, then Tim tells it from his perspective. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. I didn't even know you guys all, like, knew each other.
Yeah, we were saying, I'm like, I don't know her.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know her very well.
But you know
she knows, like, she knows me.
She knows you a lot more than you know her.
That's what I was saying. That's what we were talking about before you came in here. I was like, she knows me way more than I know her.
Well, then ask away, man. Ask questions. Try to catch up.
Go ahead. I'm ready.
Where'd you go to school? What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Oh, that's good. That's very nice. Yeah.
Blue.
See,
now we're best friends.
Each other. Now you know each other.
That's like the deepest question ever.
My favorite color is red.
Okay.
So. Oh, well, I'm allergic to red dye, so I'm not sure if we can be friends. But
well, you know what? My younger brother is allergic, or was at least when he was younger, to red dye, like red dye 40, yellow dye.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Made him really red, made him very hyper, and so I'm I know how to work around it. So I'll never
there you go.
I never offer you like
we can be cool.
like a high C or anything. Nothing with
high C's.
Nothing with the red.
Yeah, don't spike my drink with fruit punch or anything.
people spiking it thinking they're about to have a good time, and then it's like, no, you screwed me.
Yeah. Look at this delicious punch, and you're like.
No, it's actually really funny because it was something that I had to get used to myself because this was an allergy that I developed as an adult. It wasn't one that I had as a kid, and I didn't even know that was possible. Like, I had no idea that you could develop allergies, and so it was like, I think it might have been after I had my surgery. So I had my gallbladder removed when I was like 16, 17.
I mean, that thing's useless anyway.
That's when yeah, totally. So I got my gallbladder removed, and then I started noticing that any time that I ate anything with red dye in it, it just made me break out in hives. Well, then my allergy just kept getting more and more sensitive. And so, like, people would give me something and I wouldn't even think, like, oh, that has red dye in it, because red dye is in literally everything. And so even if it's not red, it might still have red dye in it. And so it's been just like a learning moment for everybody, like especially Tim. He's so much better at it than me. He'll be like, does this have red dye in it? Because he doesn't want to see me sick for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And so it's been a learning moment for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
But his family is so sweet about it now. His little sister Ellie, she's always like, does this have red dye in it? Because I don't want to poison you.
Growing up,
I don't know.
Growing up for us, Ethan was sugar made Ethan so hyper, it made his little cheeks so red, and then we found out because we stopped giving him sugar, and yet he was still bouncing off the walls, and so we started looking into other stuff, and yeah, the red dye and the yellow dye for him. Not good. So we learned to be like, does this have sugar? Does it have red dye? Does it have yellow dye? And now Lydia is gluten free.
Okay.
Ethan is gluten free. But mostly by choice.
Yeah.
Ethan's like gluten free, sugar free, all natural, healthy.
Yeah.
All by choice. Ethan's like totally organic.
Yeah.
So you know.
That's how you know when people really love you.
Yeah.
If they're like, oh, does this have something in it?
They're thinking about you.
Yeah, we can't buy, at home, we couldn't buy pizza for all of us without getting Ethan and Lydia like some wings or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they can't eat the pizza.
Well,
Right.
Are you getting nervous at all?
About what?
The wedding coming up? The wedding?
Not anymore. I had like a big nervous point a couple weeks ago. It was like on a Sunday that I just like felt really nervous all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting down with him and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, is this normal? Like, I'm just like very nervous. And that's when Tim was like, I think we should take the day off tomorrow and we should just spend the whole day together. And I was like, I think that would be a good idea. So we took the day off and we just spent the whole day together. And I think that was really good for us because I think that I was so focused on the wedding and the house that I wasn't really doing what I needed to do to like nurture our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's so important when you're taking this step, like to actually take the time to nurture, your relationship. And so after we did that, it was a big game changer for both of us. Cause I don't think Tim's been nervous, like, which blows my mind because he just has been just like cruising through the whole thing. And so I don't know. It's just wild because I didn't ever take myself for the type that I'd be like, oh, I'm getting, nervous or cold feet or whatever you call it. But he's really been the one to be like, okay, well, we need to take a pause on this and just focus on us for a day or an evening or this, whatever,
Yeah.
And so I'm not as much anymore. I'm really excited.
Well,
I'm really excited about all of it.
It's not that big of a deal anyway. You're only legally bonded to one person for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's not like it's a big thing or
it's not
anything.
a big.
It's really a beautiful
people
thing,
always
honestly.
like stressing over it and stuff, and I'm like, what's
people
that?
People out here stressing for no reason. I remember like when I had, so there was like, I had hung out with you a few times or I had been in a group of people when we first were getting to know each other.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you and Kinsey. It was at Tim's New Year's Eve party.
Yep, and your toe almost fell off.
Oh, yeah.
You started the
Totally
frostbite
confused everyone.
process.
Wait, what?
One of her toes started getting a little frostbite, but it got handled without it getting serious. But it was like all white.
What? You just said this like it was.
Yeah.
Like she almost lost a foot. You're like your toe
but
almost
prefaced
fell
this-
off.
Fantastic.
She prefaced this with, we were at Tim's New Year's party.
Yeah.
Like that's a common occurrence. That kind of stuff.
But you said your
People
toe
getting sick,
almost
people
fell
getting hurt,
off.
People having the time of their lives.
You said your toe
Polar
almost
diving.
fell off, but she just had a little bit of frostbite. Just a
Yeah, I
little.
was selling the story a little.
Wow.
But yeah,
That was
I'm
the
sorry.
first time that I ever saw Tim get protective as he was like, we need to go to the hospital right now.
He's
and
like-
we weren't even together at that point.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ooh.
okay.
He's like, who did this?
Who did this to you?
Who did this to your toe? I'll
I
find
was
him.
like, say less.
I'll beat him up.
I'll beat him up. But yeah, so that was the first time I met. Well, we kind of met each other, and then we hung out here and there, and then you guys started dating, and I was kind of I think I was at the Wilds, or maybe it was before. I can't remember when exactly, but I know there was one point where like I just sat you down and I was like, I need to hear what's going on with you guys. Not because I think
That
there's
was the
anything
first
wrong.
time that I felt like you and I really developed a friendship.
Yeah.
Is when because you and I are a lot alike in the way that like I'm extremely outgoing. Like that's where I get like my energy from, is being around others. I'm
Yes.
very much an extrovert. And so that was the first time that I was like, I actually was like, okay, yeah, Joe's pretty cool. Like he actually wants to get to know me, you know? And so I remember that night very well. You sat down with me and you were like, I want to hear all about it.
Well,
Tell me about it. And I'm like,
okay, so yes, I was very interested in getting to know you because I had been like, you know, when I would come into town, I would see Tim and I would be like a couple hours hang out, or I would like, you know, because Tim and I'm sure you're aware of this. Tim and I don't like, it's hard for us to text and phone call. Like, it's just not good connection, especially for someone like Tim. And so if I'm in town, I have to see him, you know?
Yeah.
And so we would talk about it. I would ask him how you and him are doing. I would ask if everything's going well, if the relationship's progressing in a good and healthy way, and try to encourage him and just be there. And we just had so many conversations. At one point, we were just hanging out, and I was like, I don't want to party. I want to talk to Esther because I don't know her, and it seems like her and one of my lifelong friends are just like getting real close, and I feel like it's time. And I'm very curious. Yeah. And so, I mean, you guys have a beautiful story. I'm not going to ask you to tell it at all because it's a long one, but it's a beautiful story. I mean, it really is.
I agree. I think they'll make a movie about it one day, honestly.
I mean, I'm right here.
We're already planning Seth and Sarah's.
Wiseworks pending.
I mean, we've already.
No, but I think it's a really amazing thing that, like, especially I don't even want to say a lot of guys because I don't know if that's true, but like people like Tim, he makes like an impact like in people's lives, and it's crazy how he does it. But like, and he doesn't even realize it. But when Tim is friends with somebody, it's like a bond, like for life. Mm-hmm. But it's like you said, he's not so good at the texting and calling thing. But even when you guys come back in town, you know that bond is still there. Yeah. And I can't do that. Like, I'm one of those people that cannot, like, if somebody moves away, like, we're probably going to stay friends on Snapchat or Instagram, but we're probably not going to keep that bond. Yeah. But for him, it's like, if you and I bond, then we're bonded for life. Yeah. You know? I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about, at the beginning with Tim, about respect and loyalty. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes deep for Tim. That's like a couple of his highest values, in my opinion, from what I know of Tim. You know him on a more intimate level in every way possible that I don't know. Because honestly, like Tim's never really opened up a whole lot to his bros. You know what I mean? It's like a full moon experience for him to actually get deep with us. But
it might be his full moon.
It might be
Wyatt over there getting so philosophical.
But yeah, so you know him at a much deeper level. My observation of Tim is loyalty and respect, and also Tim's a man of the nature, and so if he's not talking to you face to face, then he'd rather just wait until you are. You know what I mean? And so those values, I highly respect it. Honestly, it's something that I'm kind of in between, you know. I can stay connected similar to you, and I do feel connected in that way. But at the same time, it's like I feel like something's missing, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I also think it's super important, and something that a lot of people don't do is you can't just be friends with your friend. Mm-hmm. Especially if your friend is in a relationship, you kind of have to get along with who he's in a relationship too. Yeah. Honestly, definitely. even if you don't like them, mm-hmm. you should have the ability to get along with them and laugh and be cordial and kind and fun with them when you're with them. Yeah. It's super important. Even if you discover that you may never be friends, like true friends with this person. Uh-huh.
That's so true.
It's important to be able to get along with them and be friends when you're there.
Yeah.
And so, that's just, you know, so I think it's good that you guys actually got to sit down and have a conversation and talk. Yeah.
And then from that moment on, it's just been like great. It's been like consistently getting to know each other, but ultimately like I got it, like she said at the beginning, we're pretty similar. And so I understand kind of where you're coming from if I I'm talking to you. I can understand on a deeper level. We're not completely different people. And so I think it's easy to be friends. It's easy.
Well, that night that you were there and everybody else was asleep and we stayed up forever like talking, and we were just talking about like totally random stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like, the thing about Joe is like when he's talking to you, he's not just like, he's really taking it in. Like you can feel the genuineness just radiating.
Always.
Off of him. And yeah,
Always.
seriously. Like I told Tim this recently. I was like, the thing I love about Joe is like, if you're talking to him about something that's really important to you, you know that it's important to him that you're telling him, And I think that's like so rare to find with people. Like I do. I think it's amazing.
If you're talking to Joe, he is, it doesn't have to be like the most important. He is actually truly listening. I mean, what he'll do is he'll listen and he'll think about it and he'll process it, and then he'll ask another question. He thinks that like the advice I give or wisdom I impart is top tier. He'll be like, I never thought of it that
Joe's
way.
like, and Joe's like drying the tears over there. He's like,
I've never thought of it.
All these compliments.
I mean, I remember.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm super uncomfortable.
I remember one of we were at camp and we were just walking. It was nighttime, and we walked up the hill, which is it's an arduous hike. I wasn't even thinking about the walk because we were talking, and you were asking me questions. I'm talking deep, like philosophical and spiritual questions. You were asking me, and I was like, I don't have an exact answer, but here is what I believe, what I see is true, and what I hold fast to. Okay. And I told you, and you were like, I've never thought of it that way, and it truly is comforting to me. And I was like, guess I did pretty good.
Yeah. Honestly, I go through life, man, just trying to collect wisdom because I feel like I got zero. And so I don't do that with everybody. And the thing is, I'm quick to give my attention because I am genuinely interested. But if I feel like you're coming at me with zero humility and that you have an air about you that you have all the answers, then I'm going to...
It's like,
because I know that's not where true wisdom lies. I like someone who's going to challenge my current beliefs in a respectful and actually thoughtful way. And so...
Tim is very similar in that way. You guys are similar in that way.
Yeah. And that's why we always fought as kids.
Joe will make a blanket statement, and he did this recently. And I was like,
it's a good conversation starter.
I try to respectfully do it. I'll be like, here's why you're wrong. let me try to explain this in the best way possible.
Was my blanket statement really offensive?
No. It was something like
if it's not offensive, you can say
it was something having to do with it was relationships. It was the age difference thing.
Oh yeah,
you were like I don't think relationships. You were like I think relationships where the age difference is like fairly distant,
like 20 years apart, is really unhealthy.
You're like it's really unhealthy.
That's what I said.
And I said, here's why you're wrong.
And I've thought about it, and I've changed my mind.
But I try never to do that. I try never to give my own what are my personal thoughts. They're nothing special or important. I try to give my personal thoughts, like, respectfully to you.
Yeah, I mean you're always respectful.
To hopefully give you at least just a different perspective.
Yeah, you're always given different perspectives, and you're always respectful.
I love this communication between you two.
Let's talk to her. What are we doing?
She keeps turning it on us.
We're over here like, you know what?
You know what? I love you, man. I love you. And freaking Esther's just there going like,
now,
yes.
Now I'm sorry. We can't like.
Let me break out the next question here.
Did you see the picture on Instagram that Josh posted?
Which one?
Where we were holding hands?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I did see that one, yes.
My dad called me, and he was like, son, it's time for you to come home.
Oh my gosh.
We're from the South, right? And so he was just at dinner with my mom, and he looks at her, he's like, I'm gonna call him, and I'm gonna be like, son, I'm disappointed, and you need to come home.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's funny is that's not even
the worst we've done.
That's not it. I mean, right after that, we pretended to be like long lost.
It was windy
like
and rainy at the beach, and we were like, we're gonna do a nighttime like
acting
gay
scene.
Lovers come together and they reunite for the first time in years. And I was named Alex.
Wait a second. Nobody said that like we were both men.
I thought
I guess honestly we probably were.
Honestly, we were.
'Cause at the time
we're talking about ourselves far too much. What?
Yeah.
Okay,
it was an emotional scene. You would have liked it.
I'm gonna do something I don't tend to like to do, and I'm gonna do a hard 360 because I want to get to this.
Okay.
You are really skilled at makeup art. Now you haven't dabbled in it recently, I know, so you don't have to preface that. You don't have to preface anything. Let's just talk about your skill because we've all seen it. So,
what do you want to know?
I want to know how you got interested in it. I want to know how long it took you to get to how good you were.
Okay. So, it started. Oh, you guys are completely frozen. Okay, there we go. So it started about probably 18. So it really wasn't super long ago because I'm so young. I'm just kidding. No, but it started about 18, and it's actually kind of sad when I talk about it. But right when I graduated high school, and I was going to York Tech, I was like not making any friends, like because I'm one of those people that I can't have like surface level friends. I have to have very deep relationships, and so I had a really good friend in high school, and then she and I kind of drifted apart, and then we kind of got back close in the last couple of years, and now she's my absolute best friend. But during that time, I spent a lot of time alone, and so I remember kind of like dabbling in makeup because I never wore makeup to high school. Like it wasn't my thing. Like I didn't like wearing makeup, and so I just kind of was dabbling in it. And then I remember the very first thing that I did is it was Halloween, and I was like, I'm just going to do like a cool scarecrow face. And I kind of like painted it on, and I was like, oh gosh, I just don't know. So I wiped it off, and then I did it again. And then my mom got home, and she was like, that looks so good. And I was like, Mom, you don't have to say that. And she's like, no, it really does. So shout out to my mom because she's my biggest supporter. But no, she is the one that kind of like hyped me up. And so I was like, you really think that this looks good? And she's like, yeah, I think it looks amazing. So then I bought some more stuff and just kind of like started messing with it a little bit more. And then the first like big thing that I did that I just absolutely loved was I was texting Isaac one night, Tim's brother, and I was like, hey, I really want to try something a little bit different that I haven't tried yet. He was like, okay. And I was like, is it okay if I kind of do some makeup on you? And he was like, yeah, that's totally fine. So I went over to his house. Tim was out of town with work. And I went over to Tim's dad's house and was sitting with Isaac in his room. I had no idea what direction I was going to go in. I was just like, I just kind of want to mess around and see how it goes. And so I started painting, and I did like a skeleton arm. And after I finished it, I just remember being like, oh my gosh, this is like way cooler than I even thought that it could turn out. And then that's kind of when it like hit me, like I really love doing this. Like it's super fun. It really kind of like releases like this like inner art in me that I didn't even know that I could do. And so that's when I kind of started doing more and more stuff. And I did like the long face where like it ends like down at my neck. And I did some other looks.
Mouth.
That's scary.
That is my favorite one you've done.
That's what Tim says too. He really, really cool. Likes that one. And so that's kind of like something like that I did. And I'm like I do not mind being on camera. Like, I love talking to people. I love interacting. And so I started doing like Facebook Lives, and people started getting really into it. And so I would have like 20 plus people watching while I'm doing it. And I was like a little bit nerve wracking, but it was like, okay, like just focus on what you're doing, you know? And so it just started like this, you know, inner artist in me that I didn't even know that I could do. And I just loved it. And then whenever, you know, the engagement started and everything, it kind of like was put on pause. But I tell Tim all the time, I'm like, man, I really miss doing makeup stuff. Like, it's just super fun. It's a really cool way of just like expressing myself. Because on the day-to-day, I don't really wear a whole lot of makeup. Like, it's like maybe twice a week that I actually put on makeup, like for like a glam type thing. But I'm really not super into glam. I really like the gore stuff. I like scary. I like really intense. And I just haven't been able to focus on it in a while, but I really want to get back into it.
I have an idea that will help you like kick back into it.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, maybe. I don't know. We'll see if you're interested. What if we did like a podcast down in Rock Hill, and we're just like doing a podcast together in person, live, just on a random location, and you do a scary face on one of us. And then
I would love to do that.
And then at the end of the podcast, we'll have a full-on makeup thing. But during the process, we can talk about stuff. We can just hang out and have a cool podcast. And then at the end, we have a piece of art on somebody.
I thought you were going to suggest we start a podcast and we're all just in, like, scary makeup.
No, that's a good idea, too.
Right. So, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wisener podcast.
The only thing is it's really hard for me to do makeup on people that have facial hair. So
I'll clean shave.
So it'll be easy with Josh.
Yeah, Josh was basically
with Josh. Yeah. I've tried to do stuff with Tim, but he doesn't really like. He has really sensitive skin, and so he doesn't really like for me to put anything on his face. So like anytime that Isaac wants to do it, I'm like, okay, yes, like that means that I can like actually like go crazy, you know. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely be down. That'd be so fun.
That'd be awesome.
I would definitely have to brush up for sure. It's been a while.
Well, let's plan to do it sometime. Or if you came up for the summer sometime, because Tim said something, somebody said something.
Oh, I would definitely love to. We were so bummed that we couldn't come on New Year's.
And that's my fault. I don't know if I had COVID at that point or if I didn't ever get it. I came back with a negative test, but I was already feeling better. So I don't know.
Well, dude, we had it a week later, so you were lucky. Like, we literally had it a week later, so we could have been carrying at that point. We don't even know.
Wait,
so probably all were.
So you guys were going to do a meetup on New Year's?
Yeah, here. They were going to come here for New Year's.
Yeah?
Yeah, we were going to come to Virginia Beach.
Oh, that's really cool. You know, I didn't get here till after New Year's.
Yeah, you got here 3 days after New Year's.
Well, nice.
We ended up going to these 6 springs in Florida, though. Like, these really, really cool springs. They were awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, that was one of the coolest places that I've ever been. I didn't even know it was that local.
Yeah. Was Florida like a 6-hour drive?
Yeah, I think like 6.5. But like when you're riding with Noah and Tim and everybody's talking, it doesn't feel that long at all. Like it just kind of breezes by. You know, Noah, he can talk forever.
Yes, I know. Okay, that's actually brings up a good point. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on entering into the Gordon family. I know you've already processed this. We might have even talked about it a little bit already, but we've sampled a little bit on the podcast what the Gordon family is like. It's a beautiful place to be. It really is.
Oh, yes.
But
for sure.
There's a lot. There's a lot of opinions and thoughts and ideas and behaviors because there's literally just a lot of them. And so what is it like for you? Because you also come from a big family, but the Gordons are a lot different than your family. So I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Tim and I first got back together in 2018. And when I first started coming around his family, I used to have to pull him aside and be like, I'm a little overstimulated. I'm just going to step outside for a little bit. Because my family altogether really only happens a couple times a year. But his family gets together a lot. And at first it was like a really weird experience for me to try to get okay with that. And then it just kind of like the thing about the Gordons is like they want to have a deep relationship with you. None of them do the whole surface level thing. And so when I finally got to the point that I started developing deep relationships with all of them, and it didn't happen all at once, like it was literally one at a time that I started developing. I think first it was probably with Isaac, and then I kind of moved to Anna, and then Noah moved back. So Noah and I got to have a relationship. And then Tim's sister, Abby, she and I got to have a really deep relationship. And it kind of happened all at different times to where now it's like when I'm around them, I genuinely feel like it's my family too. And we're not even married yet. And so it's like, it's a really incredible thing because just looking back, I prayed for this. You know what I mean? Like I prayed to have this and now I have it. And it's kind of overwhelming at times. It's really, really special.
Wow.
That's awesome. We're just like genuinely interested.
But the thing is, what you're saying means so much to me because all of the people you're talking about, like I have personal relationships that are much different than yours with them, but I understand on a deeper level what all of these people are like. And to see someone like you explain it the way you just did, like that actually is enlightening to me in some ways. Just understand.
And it's not that it came all at once too, because people, you know, there's like a need for things to be easy. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, if it's not easy, then why are you in it? You know what I mean? And there's been nothing about any of those relationships that has been easy. Like none of them, like, because they're so real. Even with Tim, like, I don't think that we would be as close as we are today, like if we wouldn't have had the struggles, you know what I mean? Like the different disagreements or the different, like we've had to respect each other through this decision and that decision. And it's been the same way with his whole family. Like I've had disagreements with each of them. Like we've had times that we've had to sit down and be like, you know what? I messed up with this, or I'm sorry about this, you know? And that's been a challenge navigating that for me because like with my own siblings, we're very close, but we don't really argue. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I love you and I'll always love you. But when you're joining a new family, you're going to have arguments and you're going to have times that you don't see eye to eye. And so, but the thing is, sometimes when you don't see eye to eye, you're just like, okay, I'm not going to see them for a while. They're my in-laws, whatever. But when there's so many of them and we see each other all the time, it's like you actually have to sit down and be like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Let's hug it out. I want to still be close to you.
Keeps
you know?
And so
it's
humble.
taught me, it does. It's taught me this whole new level of like deep love and respect and humility that I didn't know before. Like I just didn't. It's really amazing what we can learn from each other if we actually try to have those relationships, you know?
Yeah.
I'm honestly.
You're like, yeah, go Esther. Go.
Well, you're saying great stuff.
I'm afraid.
What are you afraid
I'm
of?
afraid for any girlfriend or boyfriend that will be entering my family.
Yeah,
because we're crazy.
Well, you guys, you're intense.
We're a different kind of crazy from them.
Okay, the Gordons are
a different kind of crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how to preface the Gordons. I'm not going to try. I'm just going to say I know how to
it's
preface.
Hard. There's
is.
no actual word out there to describe them. There's
it
really
is,
not.
and it's a variety. You guys, and this is a generational thing for Wyatt's family. If you ever have the privilege of meeting someone else in Wyatt's family, or even his dad or someone, you're going to see it's like Wyatt's a very mild version of what his family is. His family is in your face. They will continue talking. They will continue, like, analyzing you, understanding what you are, telling you stories, and then going like, hey, stop doing that. And then, like, they'll continue. Like, it's very...
These are only memories from when you were a child.
That's not true. Your dad recently...
Oh, so have you guys known each other your whole life, too?
Yeah. There was actually... our earliest memories of each other was our parents told us at a young age that we were friends. And when we started having memories around like the age of 6, 5, 7, I don't know what age, we just like got to this Camp Maranatha that we've talked a lot about. And we just got out of the cars because we both arrived. We were both there. We came up to each other. We're like, hey, we're best friends. And so...
it's one of the few memories that I have etched into my brain.
Yeah.
Because I remember, and I know it's different for you, I remember the first time seeing you, and for me, it was a weird experience because I was like, I know this is the first time I've seen this person, but also I've known this person my whole life.
The thing is, we've literally hung out as babies, but we don't remember.
But you and Josh came running down the hill in matching camo outfits.
Matching camo.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's my first memory of Joe ever. Still remember
Nice.
it extremely clearly.
Yes.
Tim and I, for a date a couple months ago, we went. Do you know where Ollie's is in
Yes.
Rock Hill? It's just like a cheap store.
Mhm.
Well, we went into Ollie's for like, I don't even know what we were doing. We were just high on life, I guess. But we were like, let's go to Ollie's. So we wwent to Ollie's and we bought these like matching $3 camo shirts, and we put them on in the parking lot. And we like went home and we're like, we're just so in love. buying discounted shirts.
Yeah.
That's just what came to mind.
And
when you said
looking
camo.
cool, though. And looking cool.
Yeah.
I know we fit right in with the South. You know, everybody wears camo.
It's honestly coming into style. There's a lot of big brands that are doing the camo game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know. It all comes back around.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. That means I probably should get rid myself.
When
of
did my
skinny
dad
jeans.
correct you? Recently. You said recently my dad corrected
The last
you
time
on-
I saw him in person, he corrects me. He corrects me all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, because he sees me as a 10-year-old.
He sees younger people. It's his job to be, you know.
See, that's the family vibe. His dad.
His job
looks at
is
people
to
younger and
protect
say,
you.
My job is to correct and guide this person.
His job is to protect you.
I'm going to say that's an anomaly mindset.
He will always protect you no matter what.
Oh, I trust your dad with my life, but also he scares me sometimes. But yeah, so I have just a couple questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So since you've been getting into the podcast, what do you want to see for season 8? Because we are wrapping up season 7, taking a couple weeks, and starting this summer. So, what would you like to see for future episodes? What have you liked already that you've seen?
So for podcasts, like, I don't know, it's kind of, certain things are a little bit hard for me to get into just because of like personal, like what I'm about, you know, some things I just can't connect with, but like, I really, really like the midnight specials, like I said, because it's just like kind of all over the place, and that's how my mind is. I can't stay on the same topic for too long. And then I really, really like the short films. I saw one Tim showed me the other day, was like, you guys, it was like some kind of like, oh my gosh, what's like the prehistoric elephant called or something? Mammoth. There was like a mammoth in it. I loved it so much. I was cracking up.
Greater
so
remembering.
hard.
Greater remembering. Yeah.
That was so fantastic. I loved that one. But I don't know. I really like the movie ones because I'm more of like a movie person. Like Tim's not so much. Like I can watch the same movie like over and over, and he's not so much about it. And so I like the movie ones. The whole time I was listening to the movie ones, I was like, oh no, I wouldn't have picked that one. Like I wanted to insert my opinion so bad, but I wasn't there. And so it was like,
the thing is,
did you watch the most recent one?
I did. And I was just, there was some that I was disappointed with, but then Dark Knight was on there and I was like, yes, because I was, okay, so another makeup connection is one of the first times I did makeup, I was the Joker for Halloween. And because I just, oh my gosh, I love the Joker so much. Heath Ledger is just, perfection. His acting style, I really also like it. And what's the one that he does? A Knight's Tale. I love A Knight's Tale. I think it's
good
fantastic.
In A Knight's Tale.
But even some of like his 90s like rom-coms I really like. But I don't know. I loved that was on there. And then Pirates of the Caribbean, Tim and I just got done watching that trilogy again. And I was really happy that one was on there. But then like The Notebook, that wouldn't have been one of my picks. So the whole time that y'all were talking about it, I was like, oh, I wouldn't have picked that.
Josh, I believe Josh said that, you know, he knows The Notebook isn't like the best one out there.
Yeah.
But The Notebook is so big. Everybody, you say The Notebook, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you picked it.
Sweet Ryan Gosling.
It is a good movie, but also critical acclaim.
Also critically acclaimed.
Yeah, it's got everybody knows it. That's why you picked it.
Yeah, that's why it kind of got in there, but it didn't make the top list. So
well, I'm one of those.
Right.
I'm one of those people that like I kind of always cheer for the underdog movie. You know, like if it's low budget and it was really well done, then I'm like, oh yeah, this is a killer movie. You know, and I don't know. I guess that I'm just kind of biased in that way because Tim and I recently watched The Choice, and he was in here lying like a dog, by the way, because he was saying he doesn't get choked up about rom-coms, but The Choice it gets us choked up like every time we watch it because it is a good Nicholas Sparks movie. It's really, really well done.
And Ready Player One?
I haven't seen Ready Player One, so I don't know. I can't.
No!
Tim laid into Joshua.
Seth laid into him.
Joshua's getting some hate.
Oh my
today.
gosh, I saw the tension when Seth was there and y'all were talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, the tension you cut it with a knife.
That one episode.
It was intense. It was crazy.
I think what's the most we fought on this podcast? Probably the one we just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think and maybe I don't know if you picked up on it. I don't know if Josh picked up on it. But when we were doing we just filmed we pick the top 3 from all the movies we've picked, all the top 3 we've picked, and we're going on about something, some movie. Yeah. And Josh is like, I don't know what you guys have been talking about. I've been on my phone. And I would say probably for a solid 10 to 15 seconds, Joe and I are just blank staring at him. And we come out of it like laughing because it was funny, the silence. But genuinely, I was absolutely incredibly pissed.
Me too.
I cannot express actually how pissed I was.
The thing is, Joshua plays with fire so much.
He's like, if I'm not interested in doing this, nobody.
Well,
should.
Josh, he's opinionated. I mean, he's got a big opinion. He does, and so he's a little bit intimidating in that way because you're almost like, oh, I don't know if I should insert mine because yours may not be, in my opinion, correct, but it's bigger. Like your opinion's bigger than mine, you know?
It's way bigger than mine. Exactly.
You care about this way more than I do.
See, and that's the thing, and I've learned that from living here only for how long? 4 months?
5 months or something.
I've been here like 4 months, and I've learned that if you don't push back, Josh will steamroll you.
Yeah.
He will absolutely.
You got to choose your battles.
Yeah. And so
kind of like my mother.
Yeah, you've got to be as headstrong.
Oh, you got to push back and argue your socks off with Joshua.
Yeah.
You got to just straight up say, no, you are wrong.
And he'll be like, I disagree.
Otherwise, he'll be like,
walk away.
I am the smartest man alive.
No, don't ever cower in Joshua.
No, I've never had an argument with Josh. I'm just talking purely from watching the podcast. That's all I'm talking about. So don't come for me, Josh.
It's so funny. It's so funny every time. I almost every time we do these movie things, I know we're gonna get into an argument.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's gonna be uncomfortable, and it's gonna be so funny.
Yeah.
like that pause. That pause, I was genuinely so extremely...
You'll see it. He's talking about the episode where we ranked the top 3 of all time.
Yeah.
It has not come out yet. I don't know if this is going to come out before that one. I don't know if we should save that one for truly last, but it's not come out yet, so that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, but I was actually so genuinely... I wanted to... I thought in that moment we were going to stop the podcast. I thought we were going to turn off the camera.
Have you guys ever had to? Have you ever had to stop a podcast?
We've never been so angry that we would, but I was so angry at Josh in that moment, briefly, that I thought I'm ready to turn off the cameras and stop this because Josh isn't taking this.
It's happened one time before.
It'd be kind of fun if the tension was so high that you were like, cut.
We just ended.
Okay,
the podcast.
well, the thing is, if you see it, you'll be able to see it in me and Wyatt's face.
I don't know what I looked like. I have no, but ultimately, Joe and I quickly
chose to diffuse.
I was like, it's no big deal. I was like, Josh is testing us. If we get angry at him, he wins.
Exactly.
So I'm like,
That's what he wants.
So you'll notice when you watch the video, we both go.
Just
We laughed through the
Oh
anger.
my
It
god!
actually-
frustration.
Honestly, it
Oh.
worked. It worked.
It really did.
I have a question. I'm not trying to take over the podcast again, but have you guys thought about doing like a rating for like like TV shows?
What episode did we literally talk about that on?
I don't remember.
It was a recent one. I don't know if it's out yet or not, but we did actually. And we actually are probably going to consider it. The only stipulation is because it's a TV show, we're going to have to make a list of all the TV shows we've seen and pick from that. Collectively. Because it's going to be super hard if, like with these, if we haven't seen them, we can just catch up and prepare. With a show, you can't really do that because you're going to have to spend hours preparing.
It's like, I've seen Game of Thrones. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
No,
I haven't seen all of Game of Thrones.
All right, welcome to 30 hours of media.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, look, honestly, I can do it personally.
Yeah, I know you
I can do it. It will absorb the entirety of my life.
Yeah.
But
except for work.
We are considering this idea. It's a very good idea, and we have thought about it, and it looks like something that has strong potential for the summer. So what's your favorite show?
Well, my favorite show is The Vampire Diaries, but you guys probably would never watch that.
I've been recently watching it.
I've seen I think all of the first 2 seasons. I was binging those consistently.
So we have seen Vampire Diaries.
I'm familiar with Vampire Diaries.
So I've seen it quite a few times, probably as many times as I've seen The Office. It's like whenever I'm getting tired and just want to wind down, I'm like that serial killer that just rewatches the same shows, you know? But so I finally made Tim watch it because he was like, what about this show do you love so much? And he really, really enjoyed it. He thought it was really well done.
Good.
Like, it seems like all the characters that you start out hating in the beginning, like you end up really liking, you know? And I love it when that happens in a TV show. Like, I love it when you start out like hating somebody and then you're like, oh man, I really like you. You know what I mean?
See, I think I got to where there was like some serious like werewolf stuff. Mm-hmm. They started introducing werewolf stuff.
That's like only in season 1, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dude.
But I think I stopped watching it probably because I found a book or another show I was actually more interested in.
Yeah.
Also, the werewolves weren't interesting to me.
He's picky about his werewolves.
I'm very picky about werewolves.
Yeah. I think the werewolves could have been done better for sure.
Anytime it's a human that turns into a regular wolf, you know?
Yeah.
It was a regular wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of like,
well.
But I don't know. Is the show like as a whole really good?
Yes.
Because I know there's like a lot of seasons.
I mean, I've seen a lot of shows because I'm definitely like a binger because I'm not really much of a reader. I wish that I was. I really want to get more into reading, but I didn't even watch the show for the first time until I was probably like 19 or 20. And then I just like got so into it. Like the characters, like they're just all really, really well done. There was supposed to be 14 seasons and they cut it down to 9. So the last season is not my favorite because it's very rushed. But the show as a whole is hands down my favorite. And I really like Friends too. Friends is it was up there for me. But and The Office is also up there for me. But Vampire Diaries is hands down my favorite.
Have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No, I'm not much. Okay. I mean, I really like animated, but I'm not really so much into anime.
Okay, it's not an anime.
Well, no, I know.
It's not officially.
It's not. It's more of just a cartoon show.
It's basically
and
the
it
same.
Truly is one of the greatest shows. Yeah. It has a great storyline, and it's only 3 seasons.
Well,
maybe you can watch it over and over again.
Maybe I'll watch it.
Give it a shot. You will truly enjoy it. I think.
I've only seen a couple of episodes, but
you have to watch it chronologically, and if we're being honest, you have to almost get through the first season.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, once you get through that, it's a good show.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question regarding the episode. Do you have like a favorite episode of the podcast?
I really liked, I think it's all really just opinion based when somebody asks what your favorite thing is about something. So my favorite one was the one you guys talked about marriage a lot, because it was like, it was at a time that I really needed it. And so like when I was listening to it, because Tim was listening to it when I was in the car with him going to get our marriage license. And then I was like, I just kind of want to finish this. And so I finished it, and it just like, everything y'all were saying was just like very, except for Wyatt ever so often going, whoosh. that was the only part that I was like,
you were teasing me, man. I would say something good, and you're like, "That's really good. Let me get this out.
Let me hold on."
No, but I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was, but I'm not so much like Tim will listen to them on Spotify. I have to see your faces. Like that's how it is for me. Because I really like, there's this one other podcast that I listen to. Her name is Bailey, and I cannot describe, like I can't pronounce her last name. But she's a makeup artist, and what is that face?
You're listening to other podcasts?
I said it's my one other podcast.
One?
You're cheating on us.
No, but her name is Bailey, and she's a makeup artist, and she also talks about murder mysteries like while she's doing her makeup.
Ooh,
and so I really, really like her. And that was because you were asking me what was my one other podcast that I really like to listen to. And even then, though, I have to watch it on YouTube. I can't listen to it on Spotify. Like I just can't get into it the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I have a hard time too, even when I'm listening to a Twitch stream and they're playing a game. Even if they're playing a game I'm not like really into, like recently they've been playing Twilight Princess, which is a Zelda game, and I'm not into the game a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I've been listening, but I love watching. Even when they're talking about mundane stuff, I love watching. It's hard for me to listen to something unless it's an audiobook. So,
well,
yeah, that's.
Well, I'm. That actually makes me really happy to hear that you just wanted to finish listening to it and that it was helpful at that time. I mean, that actually means a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's probably nice for you guys too to have like different listeners like wanting different things, because like Tim, like I said, he more listens to the Spotify because it's kind of like Tim is not so much into listening to music on the way to work. Like he just really wants to just kind of relax. And so I think the podcast in that way is good for him. But like for me, I'm just a very visual person. Like I have to see your faces and your facial expressions and you guys like messing around with each other. Like that's just where I am able to like actually listen to it, but also watch, you know, I cannot just listen to podcasts. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the same. Me and you are the same. I watch podcasts pretty much exclusively.
And you know, also if you're not watching, listening is good, but sometimes you miss out on stuff. Sometimes you will never see something that happens because you're just listening.
Right.
Yeah, like our
You'll never know.
Okay, but I'll give you an example. So I've started listening to that podcast a couple of days ago with Tim, and you guys were talking about Wyatt drinking cold milk, and the joke completely went over my head when Josh made it the first time. And then I was watching it and I was like, I totally get it now. Like I didn't understand. I was so lost. Like
the thing is, Wyatt gets a wine glass with a little itty bitty stem and fills it to the brim with milk.
Top, full of milk.
I know. It looks so.
I don't go halfway.
You drink milk fast.
I drink milk, and I drink it fast.
It was like this white vanilla drink, and I was like, "What is he talking about?"
Yeah, it was shining white.
It was a beautiful little cup.
He's got those strong bones.
Well, the thing is, Wyatt's preparing for old age. He's not gonna.
I need to be careful.
I feel that.
I need to be careful because that's how kidney stones develop. If you're getting too much calcium, kidney
stones are passable.
If you're getting too much calcium and not enough water.
Well, kidney stones are passable.
Yeah, I drink water too, just not as fast.
We're all gonna have something, and if you learn anything else, just know that Esther's a really cool person, and she's about to be married.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, I think you'll be married.
Oh, wow. That's scary.
But the cool thing is, we got your thoughts and feelings and ideas on permanent video before you get married. So if like you ever want to just take a look at yourself, your old version, now you can.
That's pretty wild.
And if you need to back out, you give me a call. We'll come pick you up. We'll take you anywhere.
No,
we have a...
My mom literally came in my room the other day and she just knocks on the door and I open it. She was like, hey, listen, if you want to back out, now's the time. And I was like, back out of what? What are you talking about? She's like, the wedding. If you want to back out, even on the day of, I will get the car. And she was being so serious. I was like, okay,
yes.
Mom.
My dad did the same thing
Everything.
to me.
Everyone has had this.
Everyone gives them an out.
Everyone is like, if at any point you are going to bail, you text me, you call me, I will have a car, we'll be out of there. Everyone says this at every wedding. And I know somebody else does it too, but I always tell everybody that.
I mean, that's how you know who your true friends are, though. Like, if they're like, hey, if you're going to embarrass yourself in front of 100 people, I'll be right there with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I actually have to bounce because I got to pick up Kenzie from the airport.
No, you're fine.
But we'll wrap it up here. First, Sarah's going to be jealous because we ended up talking a lot longer to you than Sarah.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Because I was interviewing.
It's all right.
It's because I was interviewing you guys. So.
It's because you switched it on us and we weren't prepared.
Sarah's fan number 1, but
hey,
Esther's.
Honestly, I feel like there's
with the amount of time that she's banked, she's,
honestly. And she said like the podcast helped her in such a meaningful way. Hey, well, we didn't do this for the other people, Sarah and Tim. I don't want to call them people. We love them. But others. Since you love makeup, you have plans of rebooting it. Promote your makeup page.
Oh shoot! I don't even remember what it's called. No, I do. Go follow EB Makeup Looks.
Yeah.
See, that was the Instagram I kept seeing. Yep. I was like, I would be scrolling through Instagram and I'm like, who is this person? Why is it like you might want to be friends with?
Well, I have you guys like you can like press that you want to get notifications every time you guys go live, and I have that on my makeup page because I was on my makeup page whenever I did that and I didn't mean to. So now every time I get on y'all's live, it's in my makeup page and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta log out and get on my personal page.
Oh, it wasn't the live. It was just me scrolling through.
It's because I'm so famous. I have like 42 followers, you know.
It would even in Georgia, it would suggest this makeup channel to me.
Dude, it's because I was good friends with Esther, and you were good friends with me. Instagram saw the crossover, and they're like...
And it was funny to me when you got on that first live. I'm like,
hey.
It's that person I keep seeing.
You're like, I know her.
Even though I saw the page and I never followed it.
You better go follow it now, sir.
Oh my gosh.
Go follow it right now.
It's like a knife in the chest, Wyatt.
Wyatt,
I'll give it a follow.
I was
thinking about that before we started.
Follow. I'm totally messing with you.
No, everybody go follow her.
I'll give it a follow. You guys give it a follow.
Already got awesome makeup work there for you to enjoy.
And if you guys follow, she'll have to do more.
That's true. That's a good point.
Absolutely. So, well, I'll let you go, partly because of me, but also, just to let you have the rest of your evening.
Right.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Thank you very much for coming.
Absolutely, and I'll see you in a week.
Yes,
Wyatt,
I'm excited.
You're more than welcome to come. I heard that you said you didn't have much PTO, but you're more than welcome to come.
I don't have any. My 90 days hasn't kicked in.
Well, you can come for the reception.
I show up. I'm like, yo, what's up?
What's up? I'm Wyatt.
Ready to party.
All right. Well, thank you, Esther. We'll talk to you.
Thank you, guys. See ya.